Chapter 567. In 3 to 5 years. Xing Hui, who had just escaped from the Chaos Divine Pavilion, looked very serious. In 3 to 5 years, I have to derive Abijna. Otherwise, once the heavens collapse and we lose the heavens, the Lihin Holy Man and the Qingwei Holy Man will definitely attack me personally and kill me. The only good news now was that the Lihin Holy Man was trapped in the void, and no one knew when he would be able to find his way back to the infinite barren lands. If he was unlucky and encountered a spatial storm, he would die. Furthermore, the Qingwei Holy Man was severely injured by the Zhu Zhao Exalted Master and would not be able to cause any trouble for Xing Hui in the next 2 to 3 years. Therefore, he did not have to worry about the threat of the Lihin Holy Man and the Qingwei Holy Man in 2 years. I'll be safe, Xing Hui muttered to himself. Then, he turned his attention back to the creation Holy Jade. In order to derive Abijna, I have to reach the Aura's core stage first. However, I have only just reached the Aura's core stage, and it is still too early to talk about reaching the Aura's core stage. My only hope is the creation Holy Jade. However, it is not easy for the creation Holy Jade to accumulate Tao Aura. If I want to accumulate enough Tao Aura to allow me to blossom instantly, I will need a year's time. For any cultivator who had reached the Aura's core stage, it was nothing. However, Xing Hui could not wait that long. Therefore, gather 1,000 Tao Aura and activate the creation Holy Jade. Qing Su had no idea whether 1,000 charms of ways would be enough to activate his large fortune jade, but the situation before him forced him to give it a try. The weapon and flying sword are already being sold. They'll probably be able to sell for 300 or 400 charms of ways when the time comes. As for the remaining charms of ways, I'll leave it to the frost armor. As for the Lihin Heaven Realm, Xing Hui did not intend to sell it. After all, if he were to fall into the space mezzanine, he would not be able to withstand the erosion of the power of space without the protection of the domain power. Only by relying on the Lihin Heaven Realm could he breathe in the space mezzanine and use the heavenly cave divine stone to shatter the power of the vacuum and return to infinite wasteland. After making up his mind, Xing Hui no longer hesitated and immediately sent a message to the Galaxy Chamber of Commerce's President Gong Xing. However, other than President Gong Xing, Yu Juanru of the Southern Path Chamber of Commerce, Gu Jinjin of the Rising Dragon Chamber of Commerce, Qi Cici of the Heaven Net Chamber of Commerce, Jin Yun of the Vientiane Chamber of Commerce, and Jin Yu of the Exquisite Jade Pavilion were all within the range of his message. They agreed to meet in 6 hours to discuss the sale of the Frost Divine Armor. In less than 6 hours, Gong Xing, Jin Yu, Yu Juanru, Gu Jinjin, Qi Cici, Jin Yun, and the others had already arrived at the separate courtyard that Xing Hui had opened up in his personal space. Along with them, there were more than a dozen men and women with extraordinary auras and high positions. A 13th Order Divine Armor was of great importance. It was a strategic resource in any force. Forces like the UNG sect and the Divine Punishment Palace may not even have a 12th Order Divine weapon, armor, or flying sword. Now that Xing Hui had taken out such a treasure, it naturally alarmed the forces behind them. For a time, the real leaders of these forces rushed over, unwilling to miss the opportunity to put a 13th Order Divine Armor into their pocket. Your Excellency Pak Hui, this is the Vice President of the Southern Path Chamber of Commerce, Nantian Yun, and also my father. This is President Gu Yunshin of the Rising Dragon Chamber of Commerce. This is my master, and also the President of the Vientiane Chamber of Commerce, Spiritual Master Xing Fu. After Xing Hui appeared, Gu Jinjin, Yu Juanru, Jin Yun, and the others naturally introduced themselves. Although the few of them had good statuses, they could not really make the decision in the face of a 13th Order Divine Armor. After Xing Hui nodded to these presidents and vice presidents of the large chambers of commerce, he did not waste any time and went straight to the point. I have a 13th Order Divine Armor that I need to sell. I don't need to say more about the value of a 13th Order Divine Armor. I will invite the Divine Armor out in a moment, and everyone can make their own bids. However, I have to say in advance that if the final price of this divine armor is less than 500 Taoist rhymes, I will not sell it. Of course, the price of a 13th Order divine weapon is already extraordinary, let alone a 13th Order divine armor. Your Excellency Pak Hui, I'm afraid it's not appropriate to appraise an item in the Chaos Divine Palace. Can we discuss an exact location before we make the transaction? President Hunyuan is right. Your Excellency Pak Hui, why don't you consider it? The various presidents suggested one after another. If they could delay the Green Ruins transaction slightly, they would be able to make sufficient preparations as well as discuss among themselves. Perhaps they would be able to purchase the 13th level armor at the lowest price possible. They could then discuss who the god artifact belonged to then. However, Sing Hui clearly wanted to catch them off guard. He said bluntly, "The bidding location is here. If you don't trust me, you can turn around and leave to avoid the risk." Of course, that's not what we mean. For safety's sake, it's just for safety's sake. Your Excellency Pak Hui, you don't have to worry. Take out that divine armor and let us see it first. Seeing that no one had any intention of leaving, Sing Hui had a deeper understanding of the value of this divine armor. He nodded and took out the frost divine armor. This is. The guild leaders immediately looked at one another when they saw Qing Su take out the armor of frost. Many of them who were more knowledgeable immediately recognized the origins of the armor. The frost divine armor. Since you recognize this armor, I don't need to introduce it too much. You just need to carefully appraise and see if this divine armor is real. Gu Yunshan of the Rising Dragon Chamber of Commerce pondered for a while, organized his thoughts, and said, "Your Excellency Pak Hui, if I remember correctly, this frost divine armor should be one of the two supreme treasures, a sword and an armor, that Qing Wei holy man and Wu Se holy man found when they went out to excavate an ancient cave. Qing Wei holy man added 100 Taoist rhymes to this frost divine armor and kept it in his hands. Later, because his son, the profound ice holy man, developed a divine ability and became a powerful figure, he gave it to the profound ice holy man to protect himself. I don't know how it ended up in the hands of your Excellency Pak Hui. You don't need to ask about the origin of this divine armor. You just need to appraise it and determine whether it's real or fake before bidding." Gu Yunshan, Nin Tianyun, Xing Fu, and the others exchanged glances. In the end, Xing Fu stepped forward and said in a slightly troubled manner, "Sir White Ruin, you should understand that even though a divine armor like this that has an owner won't draw hostility like a primal chaos technique, I'm afraid that all sorts of trouble will be unavoidable when the time comes. Businessmen like us pay attention to harmony and wealth. If this divine armor causes us to draw the hostility of a supreme figure of the Saint Realm, then this sort of transaction is naturally extremely not worth it." Xing Fu spoke, and the other presidents and vice presidents nodded in agreement. "So, you don't plan to bid for this divine armor?" "That's not it. But your Excellency Pak Hui should understand that this kind of high-grade divine armor that obviously has an owner and will attract trouble naturally has to bear a certain amount of risk after buying it. If we follow what your Excellency Pak Hui said, which is an item that carries Tao with a price of at least 500 Taoist rhymes, it's not worth it. If your Excellency Pak Hui can lower the lowest price a little, we won't hesitate to buy it." At this point, Xing Fu looked as if he was thinking for Tsing Hui and said, "How about this? This divine armor will probably bring you a lot of trouble. To prevent you from being targeted by Holy Man Qing Wei when the time comes, our Vientiane Trade Union is willing to buy this divine armor of frost for 400 Taoist rhymes. When the time comes, if Holy Man Qing Wei wants to take this divine armor back, he will come for our Vientiane Trade Union. It won't bring any danger to your Excellency Pak Hui. You'll be safe, and we'll buy this divine armor at a satisfactory price. It's the best of both worlds. What do you think, your Excellency Pak Hui?" "The best of both worlds." Sing Hui shook his head and said, "It seems that it was a mistake to invite you here. Currently, Heaven's Vault is facing the Son of Chaos of the Heavenly Way, and the stored Taoist rhymes can't be used lightly. It's because of this that I didn't sell this divine armor to Heaven's Vault. Instead, I want to let you all compete for it. Since you all feel that buying this divine armor is risky, I'll just sell it to Heaven's Vault. I believe that there will be people in Heaven's Vault who will be willing to buy this divine armor at a price that I'm satisfied with." As he spoke, Tsing directly reached for the divine armor of frost and was about to take it away. "Your Excellency Pak Hui, our Galaxy Commerce is willing to buy it for 500 Taoist rhymes." Seeing that Tsing Hui was about to take the divine armor of frost away and no longer wanted to sell it, Gongxing finally couldn't help but speak up. At the same time, he looked at Tsing Hui with a sincere expression and said, "Your Excellency Pak Hui, in a situation where we have to face a supreme divine realm powerhouse, our Galaxy Commerce is willing to buy this divine armor for 500 Taoist rhymes. This price is already considered generous. If you don't believe me, Your Excellency Pak, we can ask around. Perhaps you're right, but if I don't sell this divine armor to you, but choose to trade it to the Heavenly Ways competitors, the Eternal Realm or the Divine Wilderness, I believe that its final price will definitely be above 500 Taoist rhymes." Seeing how these little tricks were unable to suppress Ching Su, the other merchant associations looked at each other. In the end, they could only start bidding slowly. 520. Our Myriad Elephant Merchant Association is willing to pay 520 Taoist rhymes. Our Chamber of Commerce has limited funds at the moment. 530 Taoist rhymes is the limit of our Rising Dragon Chamber of Commerce. Then I can only say that I'm sorry. I'm willing to bid for this divine armor with 540 Taoist rhymes. The major chambers of commerce started bidding one after another. Not long after, the price of the divine armor of frost had risen to 580 Taoist rhymes. The bidder was the Myriad Elephant Commerce. When it came to this price, the other large trading companies had stopped bidding. Obviously, this was the final price of the transaction. This price was slightly lower than the 600 Taoist rhymes that Tsing Hui had in mind. However, he urgently needed Taoist rhymes at the moment, and Tianxiong was currently in a crisis. It wasn't good for him to use a large amount of Taoist rhymes to buy this divine armor. Even if this price was slightly lower than the 600 Taoist rhymes that Tsing Hui had in mind, he still had to accept it. All right, then this divine armor of frost is sold for 580 Taoist rhymes. Thank you for making this trip. President Xing Fu. The two of us will discuss the terms of the transaction. Chapter 568. The transaction went smoothly. Tianxiong had deliberately concealed the news that Reverend Zhu Zhao had been severely injured. Apart from the core members of the Heavenly Tao, no one else knew about it. Even the Tao Masters of the Heavenly Tao were not sure about the exact extent of Reverend Zhu Zhao's injury. Otherwise, they would have seized the opportunity to profit from him. Relying on Reverend Zhu Zhao's deterrence, Xing Fu of the Vientiane Chamber of Commerce was willing to pay 580 Taoist rhymes for Tsing Hui's frost armor. When Tsing Hui sold the frost armor, the auction of the Primordial Chamber of Commerce also came to an end. In the end, they gained 422 Taoist rhymes. The flying sword and divine weapon provided by Tsing Hui accounted for 90% of these gains. 1,083 Taoist rhymes. Tsing Hui looked at the 4-digit number of Taoist rhymes in his hand with a faint smile on his face. Most of these Taoist rhymes came from a sale of the divine weapons on Saint Master Xuanbing's body, and some came from other sources. After all, he now occupied the entire Eastern Wilderness world, so it was reasonable for him to gain something every now and then. If I use these Taoist rhymes to increase my chaos level, it'll be enough to push my chaos level to the 61st level. But if I'm not wrong, the 60th level is a big threshold. When that happens, the Chaos Treasure Pavilion will change again. Who knows how many Taoist rhymes I'll need to consume every day. For this reason, Tsing Hui had to temporarily stop increasing his chaos level and focus all his energy on the Fortune Divine Jade. The efficiency of transforming Taoist rhymes into mysterious energy in the Fortune Divine Jade is extremely low, but it has an ability that the Taoist rhymes in the Fortune Divine Jade can't provide. It can activate the Fortune Divine Jade. When it's activated, the Fortune Divine Jade has an extremely high effect on the comprehension of immortal skills. I wonder how high it can be. With this thought in mind, Tsinghui glanced at the fortune divine jade, then looked through the various experiences of the netherworld sex people in cultivating the supreme immortal skill, blossoming instant. Then activate. Buzz. Buzz. The 1,000-year-old Taoist item was reduced to ashes in an instant. The rich energy was converted into the fortune divine jade. The efficiency was so low that it made one's hair stand on end. However, the fortune divine jade trembled slightly and released a dazzling purple light. As Tsinghui immersed his mind into the violet light and relied on its energy to comprehend the supreme immortal technique, blossoming instant, countless inspirations surged into his mind. This kind of effect seems to be a lot worse than simply using the energy in the fortune jade to comprehend the flower blooming in an instant. But the duration has been greatly extended. The activated state lasts for 10 days. Tsinghui frowned as he sensed the various charms flowing in his mind. However, time was of the essence. Under the terrifying consumption of one Taoist rhyme almost every 10 minutes, he had to race against time and try his best to push this supreme immortal technique, blossoming instant, to a higher level. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. In these 10 days, he constantly comprehended, mastered, and studied the various mysteries of the supreme immortal technique, blossoming instant. After 10 days, his comprehension of blossoming instant had reached the point where he was only one step away from the realm of great accomplishment. Fortunately, after 10 days, Tsinghui's mind had accumulated enough inspiration. In addition, when the fortune divine jade disappeared from the activated state, he did not hesitate to put the 20 Taoist rhymes that originally belonged to the fortune divine jade into the comprehension of blossoming instant. Immediately, he broke the shackles of this supreme immortal technique and pushed it to the realm of great accomplishment. Compared to the initial stage of blossoming instant, the success rate and conversion rate of the Taoist rhyme instant in the realm of great accomplishment were greatly improved. He was 90% sure that with the blossoming instant in the realm of great accomplishment, he would be able to cultivate his peerless grade golden core to the complete realm very soon. It's finally done. Tsinghui sighed in his heart. He glanced at his total assets that were only left with 83 Taoist rhymes. He understood why the almighties and the major factions who had such a high annual income kept their chaos level below the 29th level. Being unable to bear the burden was one problem, but the most important thing was the higher one's cultivation level, the greater the consumption of resources and the more Taoist rhymes needed. In the end, it's because many top cultivation resources can only be produced in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. If the Divine Wilderness was still at its peak 10,000 years ago, I reckon that rare treasures like the Void Understanding Grass and the Unfalling Flower that were worth tens or hundreds of Taoist rhymes could be easily bought with a few Taoist rhymes. Things were precious when they were rare. Tsinghui moved his body slightly. He had 83 Taoist rhymes, which was not enough to repay Hidden Sword Venerable's debt. Fortunately, he had a 29th level chaos technique. Thinking of this chaos technique, Tsinghui could not help but think of the sale of the Divine Frost Armor. It seems that it's not easy to sell this chaos technique of Holy Master Xianbing, and it's because she's already dead. If she's still alive, whoever buys this chaos technique will inevitably become Holy Master Qing Wei's mortal enemy. I'm afraid it'll be even harder to sell it. The only buyer for this chaos technique can only be someone from the eternal or divine wilderness. Tsinghui frowned. It was difficult to sell this kind of chaos incantation on the market. After all, even a 29th order chaos incantation could only be passed down to a 14th order chaos incantation. A 14th order chaos incantation could not be used by an invincible existence in the divine realm, and even powerful people might not be interested in it. Even if someone bought it at a high price, he would at most give it to a junior he valued. However, once this junior used this chaos incantation, he would undoubtedly offend Holy Man Qing Wei. Under such circumstances, Even if holy man Qingwei bullied and killed this junior, no one would say anything. This was an unspoken rule in the world of the Sons of Chaos. It was an unspoken rule that only applied to the high-level Sons of Chaos. Under such circumstances, the final transaction price of Tsing Hui's Chaos technique would never be higher than 150 Dao Rhymes. If this 29th level Son of Chaos is only owned by a great master like Holy Master Ingguang, Holy Master Golden Feather, Sword Master Hidden Sword, it's absolutely easy to sell it for 200 Dao Rhymes. With a little hype, it won't be difficult to sell it for 250 Dao Rhymes. Tsing Hui had no choice but to order the people of the Primordial Chamber of Commerce to pay attention to the almighties of the Divine Wilderness and the Eternal, to see if any of them happened to be deprived of their chaos level and then secretly traded it without anyone knowing. Only in this way could they hope to sell it for more than 200 Dao Rhymes. After selling this chaos technique, it would not be a problem to repay the teleportation fee from Swordmaster Hidden Sword. It seems that I have to store some energy in the Fortune Jade in advance, Tsing Hui murmured to himself as he sensed the Fortune Jade in his spiritual world. The Heavenly Axiom's method of dealing with Tianxiong had vaguely shifted from the Chaos War to crushing the real world. In that case, there was no need for him to be in such a hurry to raise his Chaos level. Next, he should focus on increasing his strength as soon as possible. Time passed, and another 10 days passed. During these 10 days, Tsing Hui had been overseeing the Hidden Sword Continent and had witnessed Luo Hongshun running the Hidden Sword Sect in an orderly manner with the help of Xiao Luiying. This result fell into the eyes of the Peak Master of the Iron Jade Peak, Zhou Tsunyu, and immediately made him anxious. In these 10 days, he had asked to see Tsing Hui 3 times, but was turned away at the door. Zhou Tsunyu's intention to make use of him was not just the slightest bit. Even if he was indeed capable and had managed the Iron Jade Peak well, but if such a scheming person were to become the sovereign of the Hidden Sword Sect, the Hidden Sword Sect would definitely be in turmoil in the future. The position of Peak Lord was the limit of what he could achieve. After dozens of days of delay, news finally came from Duanmu Tong through the Chaos Divine Palace. Supreme Elder, it has begun. These sects have begun their attack on the Arcane Art Sect. Not only the foreign experts of the Golden Elixir Realm, but even the local cultivators of the Meteorite Iron Continent have joined in the purge of the Arcane Art Sect. Duanmu Tong reported with an excited face. It has begun. Have they already determined the location of the Scarlet Sun Demon God? Has the Arcane Art Sect really created the Scarlet Sun Demon God? No, these sects will never allow the Arcane Sect to truly create the Scarlet Sun Demonic God. Once the Scarlet Sun Demonic God appears, even if it's just one of them, the Arcane Sect will become the strongest force on the Meteorite Iron Continent. After all, the only law phenomenon expert on the Meteorite Iron Continent is the Bright Flame God King from the ancient shrine of the 8 great sects. 200 years ago, the Bright Flame God King was framed by someone and his state of mind and will was shattered. Over the past 200 years, he has been trying to restore his state of mind, but he has never been able to achieve a perfect state of mind. With an incomplete state of mind, the direct result is that the speed at which he enters the law phenomenon stage is extremely slow. Tsing Hui nodded. The law phenomenon stage was, in fact, a cultivator's comprehension of the law of heaven and earth. In the end, he would use his own will to simulate the law of heaven and earth and obtain the support of the law of heaven and earth. This would increase his attack and defense by countless times, and his every move would possess unparalleled strength. This stage was equivalent to the strengthened version of the Green Hell Realm. However, because one had to rely on their own comprehension to simulate the law of heaven and earth and obtain the support of the law of heaven and earth, the state of mind, or the will that one had comprehended, became extremely important. Once the state of mind was damaged and the will was incomplete, the efficiency of imitating the law of heaven and earth to obtain the support of the law of heaven and earth and enter the law phenomenon stage would be extremely slow. The so-called early, middle, late, and peak stages of this stage were not only multiplied by the law of heaven and earth, but also related to the time taken to enter the law phenomenon stage. An ordinary lawful embodiment of heaven and earth expert would only need 2 or 3 breaths to enter the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. Moreover, they would easily obtain 2, 3, 5 times, and even the peak of 10 times amplification. However, the Radiant Flames God King, whose state of mind was incomplete, had a record of 32 breaths. The slowest, he did not enter the law phenomenon stage for nearly 10 minutes, and then the battle was over. This was also the reason why the ancient shrine had never unified the meteorite iron continent, even though they had a celestial phenomenon of heaven and earth expert. Those sects have already made a move against the arcane art sect. Yes, as long as they can capture the upper echelons of the arcane art cult alive, they will naturally be able to interrogate the location of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. When that time comes, they can even swallow the Scarlet Sun Demon God without anyone noticing, take him away, and disappear without a trace. Duan Mutong said excitedly. Xinghui nodded. The Scarlet Sun Demonic God was not a fisherman who would benefit from the last attack. Luck was also a factor. Give me your soul imprint. I'll go to the meteorite continent right away. Yes, Arcane Arts Sect. Only 998 Chidian coins are required, and you can bring home the Crimson Sun Demon God. This event is only limited to Saturday and Sunday. What are you all waiting for? Subscribe now. Chapter 569. Having made up his mind, Xinghui moved extremely quickly. With a backtrack art, an incarnation art, and a slight shift in his personal space, he appeared outside the courtyard that Duan Mutong had bought on the meteorite continent. This courtyard was located in a large city 300 kilometers away from the arcane art sect. The distance could be said to be extremely close. Even though the development of the city was rather prosperous due to the existence of the arcane art sect, it was still easy for a golden elixir realm expert to buy a courtyard in a city where the strongest was only at the green underworld realm. Grand Elder. Seeing Xinghui appear, Duan Mutong hurriedly stepped forward and bowed. What's the situation now? Currently, all the upper echelons of the arcane art sect are gathering at the headquarters, Mountain of Truth. Currently, there are already 3 mighty figures of the arcane art sect and more than 340 golden core experts. As for the experts from the true energy realm to the unending realm, there are more than 1,000 of them. Duan Mutong said, even though the golden core realm was 3 realms higher than the true energy realm, 2 realms higher than the transformative realm, and 1 realm higher than the unending realm, due to the lifespan being 3 to 4 times longer than the unending realm, there were more golden core experts than unending realm experts. In fact, any unending realm expert would think of ways to break through to the golden core realm. Some people who believed that they did not have enough resources to cultivate a high-grade golden core would even try to break through to the golden core realm without hesitation. Under such circumstances, the pyramid of the cultivation world had an extremely strange phenomenon of flowing backwards. That was, the number of golden core realm cultivators was often more than the number of unending realm experts. Back in the Divine Wilderness era, it was said that this phenomenon had also appeared in the 3rd and 4th tier of the Saint Realm. It could be said to be a great anecdote. The 3 mighty figures have all arrived at Mountain of Truth. That is to say, if the Arcane Art sect has the Scarlet Sun Demon God, that Scarlet Sun Demon God must have been collected at Mountain of Truth. That's right. The Arcane Art sect had also set up many deceptive formations in advance. However, these deceptive formations have already been destroyed by many almighties who could no longer hold back. Speaking of this, Duan Mutong's gaze turned towards the direction of the Truth Mountain in the south. However, the Arcane sect is still one of the strongest sects in the meteorite iron continent. The foundation of the sect is far beyond the imagination of ordinary cultivators. Now that they have gathered all their forces in one place and activated the arcane sect's illusory, shattering divine formation, we will need at least 15 almighties in order to have any hope of killing our way into the arcane sect. 15 major powers. Xinghui also glanced in the direction of Mountain of Truth. Even though they were 300 kilometers apart, he could still see the streams of light shooting into the sky from the mountain range. In reality, the Arcane Art sect had three major powers, over 300 golden core realm cultivators, and over 1,000 cultivators of other major realms. This lineup was already considered luxurious. Even in a head-on clash, this force could still fight to the death with 7 or 8 major powers. They were just afraid that the Almighties would use guerrilla tactics to break through them one by one. Now that the power of the formation was included, the Arcane Art sect's lineup was still only comparable to 15 major powers. The power of this formation was already considered weak. It was said that the formation set up by the Heavenly Way, a sect that specialized in formations, could often increase one's combat strength by 3 or even 5 times. If one was willing to spend a lot of capital and resources, they could even set up a top-notch formation that could only be broken through with 10 times the strength. In other words, with one major power guarding the formation, 10 major powers would be needed to break through it. This characteristic had already been reflected in the Creation Mystical sect. Only that kind of formation could be considered a true top-notch formation. The formation in front of him that only doubled the strength could only be described as sloppy and ordinary. Singhui glanced around. He could sense a few powerful auras dozens of kilometers away. Although these auras were faintly controlled and restrained, he, who cultivated the Spirit Wanderer control technique, was quite sensitive to this kind of power. He could still sense a few of them. He reckoned that those few were major powers. If they were too far away, he could not sense them at all. How many major powers have come so far? I really don't know. However, the news that the Arcane sect had created the Scarlet Sun Demon God has spread to the other major sections. They all felt threatened and have sent representatives. 5 of them are led by major powers. In addition, there is the Golden Feather Sage of the Black Gold Continent, the Shining Sage of the Arclight Continent, the Jade Sage, and the Qishao Sage of the Sky Continent, as well as the White Knight Sage, the Fire Fox Sage, and the Crane Shadow Sage. As for their origins, I reckon that they are employed by major forces in the Infinite Wasteland domain. Including the major sects, there are already 12 major powers with names and names. Singhui laughed when he heard this. I remember, isn't there a saying that the real bodies of major powers are not allowed to interfere in the disputes of the continents? Among the major powers of the Meteorite Iron Continent, half of them are from outside. Does this count as interfering in the affairs of other continents? The specific saying should be that the major powers of the Infinite Wasteland domain are not allowed to interfere in the disputes of other continents, and the major powers of large continents are not allowed to interfere in the disputes of medium-sized continents, and so on. However, in reality, it is not strange for the major powers born from small continents to interfere in the affairs of medium-sized continents, and the major powers born from medium-sized continents to interfere in the affairs of large continents. Otherwise, why would Jianing stay outside the Infinite Wasteland domain? Although the other continents are good, how can they compare to the prosperity of Infinite Wasteland domain? They hide outside the Infinite Wasteland domain because of that rule. If the Heavenly Tao, the Divine Wilderness, and the Eternal want to deal with them, they would have to find a suitable excuse. If the other 7 major organizations of the Infinite Wasteland domain are faced with destruction, Jianing, who is outside the Infinite Wasteland domain, would definitely be the last. If the Heavenly Tao, the Divine Wilderness, and the Eternal want to deal with Jianing first, it would be equivalent to completely flipping the table, and the world would be in chaos. Then what about the 3 major powers from the Infinite Wasteland domain? They are hired, and are not really from the Infinite Wasteland domain. Every top chaotic organization has a few of these major powers. Although they belong to the top chaotic organizations, they come from some remote, medium-sized continents, and are not experts born and raised in the Infinite Wasteland domain. Singhui nodded slightly. This is the first time I know that there are so many details to this rule. In fact, this rule is also set by the top chaotic organizations and sects in order to prevent the world from falling into chaos. However, now, From time to time, there will be major powers who no longer abide by this unspoken rule and attack the surrounding continents. As long as ordinary people do not have evidence, they can tie themselves to a good backer, and the other major powers will not interfere. Sing Hui vaguely understood what was going on. Back then, this rule was probably set by the sects to restrict the heavenly Tao and the eternal. However, as time passed, the mentality of many people had changed. The major organizations realized that this rule would seriously endanger their own interests, and thus began to gradually ignore this rule, and no longer insisted on upholding the rule. Once they no longer adhered to the rule, and no longer pursued the major powers who violated the rule. It would not be long before this rule would become empty words, especially now. The heavenly Tao, the eternal, and the divine wilderness planned to clear the area, and all the major forces were in danger. The signs of chaos on the infinite wasteland domain were gradually appearing, and the number of people who followed this rule was naturally decreasing. In fact, the heavenly Tao, the eternal, and the divine wilderness were likely to become the users of this rule, and use this rule to deal with the major powers who did not have any backing, while they used this rule to expand their influence and plunder more Tao object from the small and medium-sized continents. In addition to these major powers who have exposed themselves, there should be many other major powers hiding in the dark. In this way, if we are not careful, we may become the mantis targeted by the Oriole. Then, Duan Mutong also did not have a good idea on this point. Why don't we wait and see? The opportunity is fleeting. There is no point in waiting. Sing Hui shook his head. For a moment, Duan Mutong could not help but be a little dumbfounded. Waiting was not the right thing to do. So what should he do? Sing Hui did not reply, but his gaze immediately fell on the many immortal techniques offered by the creation mystical sect and the 6 great sacred sections. Among these immortal techniques, there were 2 that were most suitable for the current situation. One was the supreme immortal technique, shadowless stance, and the other was an ordinary immortal technique, aura examination technique. Aura examination technique could observe Yuan Qi, spiritual Qi, essence Qi, divine Qi, blood Qi, and other Qi of all things. It was infinitely useful for those who were hiding their tracks. Shadowless stance was the opposite of aura examination technique. It was a supreme immortal technique that restrained one's aura and erased one's existence. Its purpose was to stand under the scorching sun, without a reflection behind one. It was said that if one could master it, one would be able to jump out of the 3 realms and not be part of the 5 elements. No method of divination would be able to deduce one's origin. In the 10 days after mastering the blossoming stance, he had accumulated some Tao aura in the creation divine jade. He did not dare to speak about shadowless stance, but the ordinary aura examination technique. Compared to the immortal technique system on the creation continent, the divine beast bloodline system of the heaven wasteland domain has much fewer variations. Especially after I switched to the extreme sword Tao, I have no other advantages except for attacking. I can use the various immortal techniques on the creation continent to make up for this shortcoming, so I won't be like those boorish people who don't understand the heavens and don't know the right time. They only know how to fight head-on, and in the end, they don't even know that they are being schemed against. Sing Hui thought, and said to Duan Mutong, "Wait for me outside the courtyard for a while." With that, he directly returned to his room and began to cultivate the aura examination technique. As an ordinary immortal technique, the aura examination technique was naturally quite simple to cultivate. With the help of the creation divine jade, Sing Hui had pushed the aura examination technique to the major completion stage in a short time, and the consumption of Tao aura in the entire process was only a mere 14 points. As expected, it's simple. I estimate that with another 30 to 40 Tao aura, it won't be difficult to cultivate this aura examination technique to perfection. Sing Hui had a faint smile on his face. After cultivating the aura examination technique to the major completion stage, he immediately activated it. Instantly, the entire world in front of him became completely different. Everything in the world had a faint aura, and even the void in front of him was no exception. There was yellow earth energy, blue water energy, red fire energy, and various essence chi, vitality chi, and blood chi that represented the characteristics of different living beings. There was even the life force of living beings, the death chi of fallen creatures, the murderous aura formed from the transformation of will, and so on. Everything was presented in front of him one by one, and it was extremely clear. So this is the aura examination technique. It's really extraordinary. Then, let me see how many almighties are hiding around the arcane art sect, hoping to fish in troubled waters. As Tsing thought to himself, he activated the roaming spirit chi controlling technique. His primordial spirit left his body and went straight into the heavens. Soon, he had rushed up to 10,000 meters in the air. At 10,000 meters in the air, everything, including the arcane art sect, appeared before him one by one. He could see thousands of kilometers in all. Within this range of several thousand kilometers, powerful auras appeared in front of him. True energy realm, transformative realm, unending realm, and golden core realm. They were all different. As he compared them to himself, Duan Mutong, and the others, he quickly determined the strength of the aura in his heart. 14, 15, 16. There are 18 almighties just like me, hoping to fish in troubled waters. As expected, there are quite a lot of people who want to fish in troubled waters. Tsing muttered to himself. However, a moment later, he sensed that something was amiss. Aren't the 3 almighties of the arcane arts sect already gathered at the sect's headquarters? Why do I only see 2 almighties in the arcane arts sect? No, not 2 but 1. There's actually only 1 almighty in the arcane arts sect. Where did the other 2 almighties go? Double Rest Day, Outbreak Day. Today, I'll continue to present 5 chapters. Can everyone make a recommendation first? Chapter 570. The arcane sect's 3 almighties had been reduced to 1, and 2 of them were still missing. Tsing did not need to guess to know that something was amiss. The arcane sect still had other bases. The Scarlet Sun Demon God was most likely hiding in one of those bases, and the 2 almighties were personally guarding it. In the next moment, Tsing Hui's primordial spirit returned to his body, and he immediately pushed open the door. Duan Mutong, find out where all the arcane sect's branches are located. It would be best if some of these branches were newly established or developed in recent years. Don't miss out on any of them that have a bit of weight. Seeing Tsing Hui's solemn expression, Duan Mutong hurriedly responded, "Yes, I'll do it right away." After instructing Duan Mutong, Tsing Hui pondered for a moment before taking out the supreme immortal technique, Shadowless Stance, once again. After briefly comprehending it, he quickly entered the step of cultivating with the help of the Fortune Jade. Before Duan Mutong brought the news over, Tsing Hui had already ended his cultivation. There's a limit to Taoist rhymes. Being able to cultivate Shadowless Stance to the entry level is already the limit. As for the initial level, I'll have to wait for the Taoist rhymes and the Fortune Jade to accumulate for at least a month. Tsing Hui's figure moved, and in the next moment, the aura on his body rapidly began to fade. Soon, it became barely discernible. Although he could still be sensed by others, the threat and strength he posed to others had all decreased by a level. The entry-level Shadowless Stance. The requirements can't be too high. When this supreme immortal technique reaches the initial level, it can hide almost all of one's aura. When it reaches the advanced level, it can even hide one's sixth sense, spiritual perception, and divine instinct. Even if I stand in front of a peak almighty and have murderous intent in my heart, that peak almighty will not know anything. Tsing Hui was rather satisfied with this result. While Tsing Hui was trying to use Shadowless, a series of knocks came from outside the door. Duan Mutong had returned. As Duan Mutong pushed open the door and entered, he was about to greet Tsing Hui. However, when he sensed that Tsing Hui's aura seemed to have weakened greatly and was somewhat erratic, he was stunned. He focused his attention on Tsing Hui and sized him up for a while before he came back to his senses. "Grand Elder, you are there's no need to say so much. There's no need to ask so many questions. Yes, Duan Mutong replied respectfully, but he was even more respectful towards Tsing Hui. The longer he stayed with the Grand Supreme Elder, the more he could feel the unfathomable mysteriousness of the Grand Supreme Elder. Elder, this is the first piece of information that I've purchased. It contains a detailed record of all the branches of the arcane art sect. Even those small branches that only have 1 or 2 true energy realm experts in charge are included. I've also marked out all the newly established or expanded branches in recent years. Duan Mutong respectfully handed over a jade talisman that recorded a large amount of information. All right, Tsing Hui replied and quickly received the jade talisman. He scanned it with his mind and understood the many branches inside. Through Duan Mutong's analysis and his own observation, he quickly set his target on the 16 branches and planned the route according to the distance between these branches. Come with me, Qing Su said before directly riding his sword and flying towards the outside world. He was a golden core expert. Moreover, due to the extreme sword principle, his golden core aura was erratic. Now that he had cultivated Shadowless, it was even more difficult for others to see through his flaws. Anyone who saw him would probably treat him as an ordinary golden core cultivator. Not many people would pay attention to the departure of such a golden core cultivator. Grand Elder, where are we going? Just follow me, Tsing Hui said and flew on his sword. In less than 3,000 kilometers, he had already arrived at a branch. As he used the aura examination technique to look at this branch, he could only see a few small fish and shrimps. In this branch that originally had never-ending cultivators, there was not even a single prominent divine elite. Now, not only were there true energy realm, transformative realm, never-ending realm experts, even prominent divine cultivators have been transferred to the headquarters. You're acting quite well, Tsing Hui said, and then turned around and flew to the next branch. The meteorite iron continent was not small, but the arcane art sect was only one of the 8 major sects on the meteorite iron continent. The territory it occupied was limited. Tsing Hui used a day to go around half of the arcane art sect. Moreover, when he found the 9th branch, he finally stopped. These 2 auras must belong to powerful existences. It seems like this is the hiding place of the Scarlet Sun demonic god. Tsing Hui hovered in the air on his sword and looked at the encampment in front of him. He could clearly see 2 auras that belonged to powerful existences in this branch. In addition, there were dozens of true energy realm, transformative realm, never-ending realm experts, and a few golden core realm experts. These cultivators were either old and decaying, or full of vitality and youth. Obviously, they were the elites of the arcane arts sect, and people who were proficient in scientific research. The arcane arts sect is really determined and courageous. Other than the 3 powerful existences, I reckon no one in the arcane arts sect knows about this. These 3 powerful existences are probably prepared to sacrifice the headquarters of the arcane arts sect. Even if the headquarters of the arcane arts sect is destroyed, as long as the Scarlet Sun demonic god is successfully built, the arcane arts sect will still be able to rise from the ruins with the help of the 2 powerful existences. With the power of the Scarlet Sun demonic god, the arcane arts sect will soar into the sky and unify the meteorite iron continent in the future. Even developing into a colossus like the Sword Shadow sect will not be an extravagant hope. Tsing Hui looked at the experts hidden in this branch and could not help but sigh. Elder, you're saying that the reason the arcane art sects split their forces into 2 is to attract the enemy's attention? When Duan Mutong heard Tsing Hui's words, a look of disbelief appeared on his face. Tsing Hui nodded, but did not explain in detail. There are 2 powerful existences of the arcane art sect here. With my ability alone, I'm afraid it won't be easy to defeat these 2 powerful existences. After all, he could not be considered a true powerful existence. Perhaps in terms of attack power, he was already above the ordinary powerful existences. In a one-on-one situation, it would be relatively easy for him to defeat an ordinary powerful existence. However, once he was surrounded by two powerful existences, he would be defeated much faster than any other powerful existence due to his lack of defensive means. In the past, I didn't dare to touch this treasure of the Lihan heavenly realm. After all, this treasure has the spiritual imprint of the Lihan holy man. Once I use this item, the Lihan holy man will definitely sense it. At that time, he will only need to follow this spiritual imprint to lock onto my position. Then he will ask a powerful existence with a 10th order personal space to descend and kill me directly. But now, the Lihan holy man is still trapped in the void, and I don't know when he will be able to escape. The Lihan heavenly realm is mine to use. With this thought, Xinghui did not waste any more time. First, he activated the Spirit Wanderer technique and used his immortal soul projection to investigate every detail of this branch. It wasn't long before he'd already investigated most of the branch. Only the core, where the two great figures resided, was protected by an invisible force, and even his soul core was unable to detect it at all. Looks like the Scarlet Sun demonic god is there. Xinghui's immortal soul returned to its position and turned to Duanmu Tong. Next, the two of us need to work together. We came to this branch not to find the Scarlet Sun demonic god, but because the arcane art sect is not as powerful as before. Everyone kicks a man when he's down. We have targeted this branch and want to take advantage of it. Do you understand? Your subordinate understands. There are 4 golden elixir realm experts in this branch. I will disguise myself as an elite who has condensed a high-grade golden elixir, and you will disguise yourself as a local cultivator who has a grudge against the arcane art sect. Our goal is to lure out one of the 2 powerful existences in the core of this branch. If we can injure or even kill one of them, our subsequent actions will be much smoother. After Xinghui gave his instructions, he quickly flew toward this branch with Duanmu Tong. Almost at the same time, when the 2 of them appeared outside this branch, the cultivators in the branch who were constantly on the lookout immediately reported the news to the 2 powerful existences in charge of this branch, Shakyamuni Luomiao and Shakyamuni Zhujian. Shakyamuni, there are 2 people approaching our branch at high speed. How is this possible? We have already prepared a sufficient disguise beforehand. Everyone's attention should have been drawn to the headquarters, Mount Truth. How could there be people who have actually come to our branch? This should be a coincidence. These 2 people are only in the golden elixir realm. According to the information we have gathered, the 2 of them should be from the headquarters who originally had a grudge against our arcane art sect. They originally concealed their identities and did not dare to act presumptuously in front of our arcane art sect. Now that they have sensed that our arcane art sect is in danger, they have revealed themselves. On one hand, they want to take revenge. On the other hand, they want to plunder our resources by destroying these unguarded branches. According to their conversation just now, they have already destroyed 2 of our arcane art sect's branches beforehand. The Golden Elixir Realm cultivator who came to report spoke with a hint of anger in his voice. Hearing his words, the 2 powerful existences' expressions turned cold. How dare they? It is true that our arcane art sect is currently in a crisis, but we are not to be humiliated by any Tom, Dick, or Harry. Shakyamuni Luomiao, please be careful in case there is a trap. I think it is better to send someone to probe first. Shakyamuni Zhujian cautioned from the side. There is no need. A trap? What kind of trap could there be? These are 2 golden elixir realm cultivators. I can kill them with a single palm. Shakyamuni Luomiao sneered. Shakyamuni Zhujian felt that his words made sense and did not say anything else. It was only 2 golden elixir realm cultivators. To them who had cultivated remarkable abilities, it was indeed a matter of one remarkable ability. Shakyamuni Luomiao's speed was extremely fast. It did not take long for him to appear in front of Xinghui and Duanmu Tong. Due to the fact that the true experts of this branch were not easy to stop due to being exposed, Xinghui and Duanmu Tong had already advanced to the center of the branch at an extremely fast speed. It could be said to be an extremely inner position. Even if Shakyamuni Miao really wanted to attack here, as long as he moved quickly, the outside world would not be able to detect the slightest movement. Two little bastards, how dare you bully our arcane art sect? Die for me, blade of annihilation. The moment Shakyamuni Miao appeared, he did not waste any time talking nonsense with Sing Hui and Duamutong. He immediately activated his remarkable ability. Countless wind blades that seemed to be formed by the power of space formed a killing vortex that swept towards Tsing Hui and Duanmutong in an instant. In the next moment, these two golden elixir realm cultivators would be crushed into pieces. Chapter 571. The Blade of Annihilation could be considered as one of the more powerful supernatural powers. It was more than enough to kill two golden elixir realm cultivators. In particular, in order to ensure that nothing would go wrong, Shakyamuni Miao had used his supernatural powers the moment he appeared. It could be considered a sneak attack, a mighty figure of the divinity realm using a divine ability to sneak attack two golden core cultivators. The result was already foreseeable. Unfortunately, what he didn't know was that his sneak attack was not an ordinary golden core cultivator at all. Moreover, this golden core cultivator had already seen all of his movements with the aura examination art. Almost at the moment he appeared and used his divine ability, Tsing Hui's figure suddenly flashed and dodged the killing power of the divine ability. Then, the Scarlet Abyss sword appeared. Clang! A resonant sword hum shook the sky. A dazzling light illuminated the surroundings. Amidst the dazzling light, the Scarlet Abyss sword's sword shadow was mixed with a towering and blazing sword will. It directly reflected on the mental world of Dharma King Luomiao, who still had a sneer on his face. Caught off guard, his mind shook violently. His stable mental world seemed to be like snow exposed to the scorching sun, quickly melting away. The reaction brought about by the annihilation of his mind made him scream in pain. At the same time he screamed, the Scarlet Abyss sword's sword light had already descended on his body. The series of movements were so fast that Dharma King Luomiao, who thought that killing two golden core cultivators would be easy, was caught off guard. Not good. However, Dharma King Luo Miao was an almighty who had derived god art for many years. He had been through hundreds of battles in his life. The moment he sensed the danger, he reacted quickly. He unleashed his god art, the brilliant sword light, and retreated at full speed. At the same time, he roared, "Almighty!" It's a mighty figure. Rumble. The sword light dissipated. Dharma King Luomiao, who had hurriedly used his divine ability, could not block all of the brilliant sword shadows slashed by Tsing Hui's Scarlet Abyss sword. More than a dozen sword lights, which were mixed with blazing flames and terrifying sword will, pierced through Dharma King Luomiao's body, leaving more than a dozen charred holes in his body. The intense pain made him pale, but fortunately, he managed to escape from Qing Su's range of attack in the end. He only needed to hold on to his last breath and rush towards Guardian King Zhu Jian to meet up with him. With the combined strength of the two of them, they would still be able to turn the situation around. Seal. Spatial division. However, just when he was about to charge towards Protector King Zhu Jian, and when he saw Protector King Zhu Jian rushing over his reinforcements, a barrier that shone with light immediately enveloped the entire core region of the branch. Afterwards, all the space within the region was locked onto by the Qing Ruins technique using the aura examination technique, splitting it up layer by layer. In that instance, the region that the soul could not sense was split into one region. The remaining golden core experts were split into another region. The outer members were split into another region, and Luo Miao and Zhu Jian were split into another region. This is Dharma King Luo Miao, who was retreating, was blocked by the power of the Lihin Heaven Realm. He could not retreat, especially when he saw the screen of light that separated him from Dharma King Zhu Jian and the others. He could not help but widen his eyes in shock and anger. The Lihin Heaven Realm. The Lihin Heaven Realm. It's the Lihin Heaven Realm of the Lihin Holy Man. Are you from the way of the heavens? What answered him was Qing Su's second dazzling streak of light, without any hesitation. The way of the heavens. Fully aware that he would not be able to smash through the parting heaven world in a short amount of time with his current strength, Dharma King Luo Miao roared out furiously and twisted around. He completely ignored his injuries and used a powerful ability. Thousands of wind blades formed a huge vortex of destruction, clashing with the Scarlet Abyss sword's light. At that moment, wind blades and sword chi shot out in all directions, crashing against the barrier of light from the parting heaven world. Even a powerful treasure like the parting heaven world dimmed slightly as it circulated. I have not completely mastered the Lian heaven realm, and I cannot use the full power of this treasure that belongs to the Lian holy man. Dharma King Zhu Jian is attacking the Lian heaven realm with all his strength, and I do not have enough means to contain Dharma King Zhu Jian. If this continues, Dharma King Zhu Jian will tear through the barrier of the Lian heaven realm and meet up with Luo Miao. I have to end this quickly. As he thought of this, a cold light flashed in Xing Hui's eyes. The deep scarlet sword in his hand brewed a terrifying power. When it reached its peak, it exploded like a falling sun, bringing with it a terrifying power that could destroy heaven and earth as it slashed towards Dharma King Luo Miao. Sunburst. Holy King Luo Miao's expression changed drastically when he sensed the terrifying power contained within the sword, which was close to the level of a grand divine ability. He quickly retreated, intending to avoid the divine ability. But the Lian heaven realm was not as simple as just setting up a battlefield. As Xing Hui changed his mind, the battlefield that belonged to him and Dharma King Luo Miao in the Lian heaven realm shrank continuously. In an instant, Dharma King Luo Miao had nowhere to run. Even though the power of the Sunburst sword would still shake the Lian heaven realm and damage the power of the Lian heaven realm. But this was the best way to secure victory. Unable to escape, Dharma King Luo Miao let out a roar of despair. He could only use all his strength to attack with his strongest Abhijna. But ordinary Abhijna was ordinary. No matter how refined an Abhijna was, ordinary Abhijna could not compare to a great Abhijna. Just like how 10,000 kilograms of cotton could not destroy a 1 kilogram piece of steel. The sword of Sunburst sword light, slashed down by the deep scarlet sword, collided with the vortex of wind blades that was strangling the void. As a strong light spread like the explosion of the sun, the blade of annihilation that Dharma King Luo Miao had used all his strength to attack collapsed. After destroying the blade of annihilation, the sword of Sunburst sword light did not stop at all. It slashed down with a loud bang and slashed at Dharma King Luo Miao's body. For a moment, endless light and brilliant sword will wantonly swept out in all directions. In that dazzling sword light, one could vaguely hear Dharma King Luo Miao's final roar of resentment and despair. Heavenly Tao, no! Dharma King Juejian, who was attacking the Lian heaven realm, cried out in grief. In the next moment, his attacks became even more violent. In addition, the sword of Sunburst power was absorbed by the Lian heaven realm, causing the light of the Lian heaven realm to rapidly dim. In a breath's time, Dharma King Juejian had carved a hole in the Lian heaven realm. After that, he did not choose to fight Xing Hui. Instead, he flew as fast as he could toward the area that Xing Hui's primordial spirit could not detect. I can't let him put the Scarlet Sun Demon God into his personal space. A cold light flashed in Xing Hui's eyes. His gaze swept across the Lian heaven realm. The light of the Lian heaven realm had already dimmed. It was not impossible to activate it again, but in this way, one careless mistake could lead to the ultimate destruction of this supreme treasure. The Scarlet Sun Demon God, I must have it. A cold light flashed in Xing Hui's eyes. Heaven Splitter burst forth at full speed. His entire body was like a stream of light exploding. He moved later, but arrived first, intercepting Dharma King Juejian before he could reach the area that his primordial spirit could not detect. Then, the deep scarlet sword appeared. Scram! Dharma King Juejian growled. Although his understanding and application of divine powers was inferior to Dharma King Luo Miao and Dharma King Achu, who was known as the second most powerful person on the meteorite continent, he was still a being who had reached the divine powers realm many years ago. As his divine powers burst forth, a dazzling blaze wantonly spread and turned into the shadow of a divine phoenix. It roared as if it wanted to burn all space and Yuan Qi in front of it to ashes. Phoenix! Slash! Xinghui growled. The dazzling blaze and brilliant sword while on the scarlet abyss sword collided head-on with Dharma King Juejin's phoenix shadow in the void. Without the morning celestial realm to bear the brunt of this collision, it immediately formed a terrifying torrent visible to the naked eye. Mixed with an annihilating heat wave, it destroyed all the courtyards, pavilions, and palaces in this branch with an unstoppable force. The tall and luxurious buildings were like fragile tofu in front of the spreading shockwave, destroyed with a single strike. The remaining force of the shockwave continued to spread in all directions, wiping out everything in this branch. Apart from a few golden core and never-ending experts who managed to escape by retreating at the first moment, the remaining ordinary cultivators were directly killed. With all the surrounding buildings destroyed, the Scarlet Sun Demon God, who was protected by layers of formations and treasures, as well as the workers who were working around him, were immediately exposed to everyone's vision. The Scarlet Sun Demon God, Xinghui and Duanmu Tong's gazes were immediately drawn to the tall machine that was nearly 3 meters tall and had circular sword wings on its back. It really is the Scarlet Sun Demon God. The Scarlet Sun Demon God is actually in this unknown branch. Disbelief was written all over Duanmu Tong's face. The fact that the great elder of the Qing Su ruins was not staying on the Mountain of Truth and was running all over the place had already made him rather anxious. After all, no one knew when the great existences would launch an attack. Once the Mountain of Truth was breached, and the great elder of the Qing Su ruins would not be able to move the Scarlet Sun Demon God into his personal space and time, it would not be easy for him to retrieve the treasure. There were many times when Duanmu Tong had almost failed to stop himself from advising the great elder of the Qing Su ruins. He did not expect the situation to turn around, and Xinghui would actually dig out the real Scarlet Sun Demon God in this unknown branch. This was simply unimaginable. Sunburst. Just as Duanmu Tong was shocked by the appearance of the Scarlet Sun Demon God, Xinghui's shout sounded again. Sunburst. The second sword, Sunburst. He knew very well that if he wanted to obtain the Scarlet Sun Demon God, Shakyamuni Jian was an unavoidable obstacle. Only by killing Shakyamuni Jian could he truly take the Scarlet Sun Demon God for himself. Quick, inform the first Shakyamuni Jian to take the Scarlet Sun Demon God away. Shakyamuni Jian roared angrily at the survivors, and at the same time raised his head to the sky. The aura all over his body soared to an unprecedented peak, and above his head, a phoenix phantom completely appeared, spreading its wings and soaring. Then, ignoring Xinghui's sunburst sword, he controlled it to pounce towards Xinghui. He could tell that the power of Xinghui's sunburst sword was not inferior to a great divine ability. Relying on the power of his divine ability, he had no chance of winning. The only way to break out of this situation was to attack instead of defend, to fight with his life. He ignored Xinghui's sunburst sword and directly attacked Xinghui himself, forcing Xinghui to raise his sword to help. In this way, Xinghui's sunburst, terrifying strike would be destroyed, and he could also use this method to buy more time. Attack instead of defend? Fight with your life? Xinghui glanced at the several golden core experts who were about to leave with the Scarlet Sun Demon God, and his eyes flashed. How many lives do you have to fight with me? He activated the backtracking technique. The sunburst sword did not change at all. Carrying the power of a falling star and destroying heaven and earth, it struck Shakyamuni Jian's body. And almost at the same time, the phoenix formed by Shakyamuni Jian's divine ability swallowed down with torrential flames, completely engulfing Tsing Hui's imposing figure, standing in the void and burning it to ashes. Third update. Chapter 572. Let's go. Take the Scarlet Sun Demon God and leave. The 4 Golden Core Realm experts, 6 Eternal Realm experts, and more than 10 researchers who were lucky enough to survive shouted at the same time and retreated at once. No matter who you are, when our arcane cult completes the refinement of the Scarlet Sun Demon God and successfully activates it, you will all face the revenge of our arcane cult. Today's grudge will be avenged in the future. With angry roars, everyone rose into the air at the same time and flew towards the Mountain of Truth. Oh no, they're escaping. Duan Mutong ignored the difference in their cultivation and rode his sword as quickly as he could to intercept the group of people. However, before he could stop the Golden Core and never-ending experts of the arcane cult, he already sensed violent might erupting behind him. He had personally witnessed Qing Su being swallowed by Shakyamuni's ability, the power of the phoenix, in a single stroke. The two of them had died together, disintegrating into nothingness. This result made Duan Mutong's eyes widen. He could not believe what he had just seen. Grand Supreme Elder, how could... On the other hand, the people of the arcane cult cheered at the same time as they were grieving. Dead, dead. The thief who conspired against our arcane cult's Scarlet Sun Demon God is dead. Shakyamuni, our arcane cult will forever remember your contributions to the arcane cult. Although that thief is dead, there's still one left. Let's attack together and kill him completely. As long as we kill him and destroy the evidence, no one will know the true location of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. The Golden Core Realm and Eternal Realm cultivators who were originally planning to escape stopped running. They turned back and charged towards Duan Mutong. Damn it! Grand Supreme Elder can't be dead. Absolutely not. Duan Mutong growled out. He completely ignored the battlefield that was still filled with scorching heat. He charged towards the surging flames as soon as possible, as if he wanted to save Qing Su. Stop him. Revenge. Avenge Shakyamuni Juejian. Blood for blood. The people of the arcane cult roared. They broke through the air on their swords and caught up with Duan Mutong in an instant. A 1 versus 4 battle was about to start. However, just as the battle was about to erupt, a figure suddenly appeared in the blazing flames. Before the many Golden Core experts of the arcane sect could react, that figure seemed to have turned into a dazzling sword light. A majestic sword shadow, mixed with a blazing intent, swept up a radiance that could almost melt spiritual worlds. It fiercely shone on the spiritual worlds of the 4 Golden Core experts, igniting all of their spiritual worlds. This sort of soul-burning pain caused these 4 Golden Core Realm experts to let out shrill cries of pain at the same time, and they were utterly unable to do anything else. Bang! 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 Taking advantage of this opportunity, the figure that appeared from the flames transformed into a stream of light and instantly struck the 4 Golden Core stage experts, knocking them unconscious at the same time. Watch them! With a flash of light, the figure appeared. It was none other than Tsing Hui, Supreme Elder. Seeing Tsing Hui, Duan Mutong's eyes flashed with ecstasy. Yes! Swoosh! In the next moment, Tsing Hui's speed exploded once again. The moment he soared through the air with his sword intent was activated. His entire person seemed to have turned into a sun that illuminated the world. Endless light and heat poured out from his body endlessly, mixed with a soul-burning charm that attacked their spiritual worlds. In an instant, other than a few cultivators with strong spirits and tenacity, everyone screamed incessantly. Even those cultivators with strong spirits and tenacity could barely withstand Tsing Hui's brilliant sword intent. However, when Tsing Hui's true body arrived, his sword chi swept out and quickly defeated them. Not long after, the 4 Golden Core Realm experts, 6 Eternal Realm experts, and 34 Transformative Realm true energy realm, and prominent divine realm cultivators who were lucky enough to survive were all captured alive. Among them, the Scarlet Sun Demon God was in the hands of a Golden Core Realm old man who was in charge of scientific research. Supreme Elder. Although Duan Mutong did not understand how Tsing Hui had come back from the dead after being reduced to ashes, this did not affect his respect for Tsing Hui. A great battle just broke out here. Before long, it will definitely attract the attention of others. Let's leave first. As Tsing Hui spoke, he shook his right hand and knocked out all the captured people. Then, he put them into his personal space. You enter my personal space as well. I'll leave as soon as possible. Yes, Supreme Elder. Duan Mutong replied respectfully. Tsing Hui nodded. After putting him into his personal space, he leapt up and flew at full speed. With a series of ear-piercing explosions, he left this mountainous area far away. Almost at the same time as he left this area, in the ruins of the branch, a heavily injured transformative realm cultivator opened his eyes. Looking at the flattened branch and the two Dharma kings who had died tragically, his eyes immediately revealed a pained expression. Dharma King Eki. I must inform Dharma King Eki of this news. The Scarlet Sun Demon God has already fallen into the hands of those two. Tsing Hui flew at full speed on his sword. He was as fast as lightning. For hours later, he had already flown tens of thousands of kilometers away from the battlefield. After finding a relatively hidden valley, Tsing Hui landed and released Duan Mutong and the others. I'll leave these people to you. Interrogate them for the Chaos Mantra and other items, especially this old man. The Scarlet Sun Demon God is in his possession. No matter what method you use, pry open his mouth and force him to hand over the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Tsing Hui handed the old man with the Scarlet Sun Demon God and the cultivators to Duan Mutong. Don't worry, Supreme Elder. There aren't many people in this world who can truly endure all the punishments. All right, Tsing Hui nodded. All that was left was to wait. After spending an entire day, Duan Mutong arrived before Qing Su rather feebly. Great Elder, these people have all confessed. There are an extremely large number of signs of chaos among them. Almost half of them. There are 6 signs of chaos above the 10th step. All right. Tsing Hui's eyes lit up slightly. 8 sons of chaos above level 10. That was at least 300 Taoist rhymes. It's a little strange. Logically speaking, the probability of son of chaos should not be so high. You have to know that apart from those large sects, only 1 in 5 Golden Core Realm experts in small and medium-sized factions would possess a chaos level above level 10. Among these people, there are only 4 Golden Core Realm experts. However, among the 4 Golden Core Realm experts, 3 of them are above level 10. The remaining one is also a level 8 son of chaos. That's quite rare. It's not rare. If I'm not wrong, these Golden Core Realm experts, apart from that old man, should all be seated figures of the Arcane Arts sect. Can't you see that they are all rather young? Duan Mutong immediately came to a realization. Supreme Elder, everything, including the Scarlet Sun Demon God, is here. As Duan Mutong spoke, he moved out the Scarlet Sun Demon God and many materials used to forge it. These materials are actually enough to forge 2/3 of the second Scarlet Sun Demon God. Unfortunately, whether it's this Scarlet Sun Demon God or the second Scarlet Sun Demon God that is yet to be forged, there's a huge problem. Without the core, it's just an inanimate object that can't be activated. The core of the Scarlet Sun? Huh. Tsing Hui nodded. Very few people would collect such an item. The collectors would usually have already activated the core of the Scarlet Sun. An activated core of the Scarlet Sun was almost equivalent to a star. It was a sacred cultivation ground for fire attribute cultivators. If one wanted to buy it, the price would be at least 4 digits. The entire Arcane Arts sect might not be able to gather such Taoist rhymes. I'll think of a way to get the core of the Scarlet Sun. Tsing Hui kept the Scarlet Sun Demon God. He felt a little regretful. The core of the Scarlet Sun was one of the items that the Chaos Treasure Pavilion had spawned previously. It was a pity that he had limited wealth at that time and was unwilling to waste too much Taoist rhymes on that core. Otherwise, the Scarlet Sun Demon God would have been successfully activated. With the Scarlet Sun Demon God in front of him and his own sword of sunlight, which was not inferior to a grand mystique attack, he was not afraid of anyone in the sixth realm of saints as long as he did not meet a peak expert who had entered the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. It's a pity that you've killed those two almighties. According to those people, Shakyamuni Lamyao and Shakyamuni Jujian have large amounts of precious resources and items that carry Taoist rhymes. The total value is said to be no less than 500 Taoist rhymes. 500 Taoist rhymes. When Tsing Hui heard this, he also felt that it was a pity. However, a battle of life and death between almighties could be said to be a flash of lightning. This was especially so for a fake almighty like him who had obvious flaws. If he was not careful, he might even fail miserably. Therefore, when facing Shakyamuni Lamyao and Shakyamuni Jujian, he had no choice but to give it his all. Capture almighties alive? He did not have the ability to do so now. All right, you may leave. Help me guard the surroundings, and do not let anyone come near. As Tsing Hui spoke, he walked towards the unconscious arcane sect cultivators who were under Duan Mutong's control. Yes, Grand Supreme Elder. Duan Mutong left respectfully. The blossoming moment immortal technique was extremely evil and could be called the demonic Tao. Back then, the Netherworld sect had been besieged by 3 great sects because of this immortal technique. They were even viewed as enemies by the other great sections. Now, Tsing Hui had no choice but to use the blossoming moment in order to achieve the full circle of Golden Core. However, this did not mean that he was willing to let everyone know about this. Therefore, he had sent Duan Mutong away before using this immortal technique. Survival of the fittest. Tsing Hui looked at the unconscious arcane sect cultivators who still had painful expressions on their faces and sighed inwardly. Passing away while unconscious can lessen your pain slightly. With that, he waved his hand, and the blossoming moment was unleashed. The first target was a golden core cultivator. As Tsing Hui used his own essence, qi, and spirit as a guide, a 7-colored flower formed and seeped into the golden core cultivator's body. This golden core cultivator's essence, qi, and spirit were rapidly devoured by the 7-colored flower. The efficiency and strength of the devouring were much faster than the entry-level blossoming moment. Not long after, a Tao fruit completely condensed from the golden core realm cultivator's essence, qi, and spirit had already formed above the golden core realm cultivator. Having lost his essence, qi, and spirit, the golden core realm cultivator was like flying ash, blown by the wind, and turned into nothingness. A Tao fruit at the golden core realm. Tsing Hui summoned the Scarlet Abyss Sword. The power of the Tao fruit was immediately refined into the Scarlet Abyss Sword, causing the golden core of the Scarlet Abyss Sword to become even more condensed and powerful. After a moment, Tsing Hui opened his eyes. There was a terrifying glint in his eyes. This effect has already reached 1/10 of a golden crow's inner core. Fourth update, Scarlet Sun Demon God in hand. Chapter 573. The inner core was equivalent to 1/3 of the energy in a divine beast body. However, the most powerful aspect of divine beasts and sacred beasts was not the energy stored in their bodies, but their powerful bodies and innate talents. That was why the price of 1 or 2 portions of blood essence was more expensive than their golden cores. As for the blossoming of the flower, it would draw out all the essence, qi, and soul of a Jindan cultivator and condense it into a single point to form a fruit of the way. It was equivalent to the essence of a Jindan cultivator. Even if the conversion rate was not 100%, it was at least 90%. It was precisely because of this that the corpses of Jindan cultivators would turn to dust after the conversion was completed. Therefore, it was not strange for a golden core practitioner's Tao fruit to contain 1/10 of the energy of a golden crow's inner core. The moment the flower blooms, it consumes 1/10 of my essence, energy, and spirit. Due to my 10th order recovery ability, the loss of a tenth of my essence, energy, and spirit can be replenished in 4 to 6 hours. Even if I don't supplement it with rest and meditation techniques, 12 to 12 hours should be enough. In other words, if I can obtain enough golden core level Tao fruits, Tsing Hui's eyes lit up. For months. In less than 4 months, his sovereign golden core would reach the Great Circle. The Great Circle of the golden core would give birth to remarkable powers. Once he was able to give birth to remarkable powers, even if they were of a lower grade, his battle prowess would reach the pinnacle of the saint level. With that thought, Tsing Hui did not waste any more time. He used the blossoming instant to convert the remaining 3 golden core practitioners into Tao fruits and refine them. In an instant, the radiance on his sovereign golden core was much brighter than before. Very good. Tsing Hui slightly recovered his essence, energy, and spirit before turning his gaze to another never-ending practitioner. However, after refining the Tao fruit condensed from the never-ending practitioner's essence, energy, and spirit, he frowned slightly. The energy contained in the Tao fruit of a never-ending practitioner is not even 1/10 of that of a golden core practitioner. Every time the instant of blooming flower was used, it required 1/10 of the user's essence, energy, and spirit. If it failed, the user's essence, energy, and spirit would be wasted. This was also the reason why Tsing Hui was so tired and pale after failing to use the instant of blooming flower on Gupo. Now that he knew that a golden core expert had 10 times more energy than a never-ending realm expert, and that the consumption of blossoming instant was the same for both of them, he was no longer willing to exhaust his essence, energy, and spirit to use blossoming instant on a never-ending realm cultivator. About 300 golden core cultivators are needed, Tsing Hui calculated in his mind. 300 golden core cultivators, if it was in the past, wouldn't be easy to gather all of them. But now, it wouldn't be long before the arcane sect and the native sects of this world would erupt into a great war. Taking advantage of the chaos, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill dozens or even hundreds of golden elixir realm cultivators. As for the remaining 200 or so golden elixir realm cultivators, it wouldn't be too late to think about it later. Duan Mutong, Tsing Hui called out. Duan Mutong's figure flashed and appeared in front of Tsing Hui. Grand Elder, what are your orders? Go to the Primordial Trade Union and inform them. Use their channels and see if they can find out the whereabouts of the Great Sun Core. All right. Duan Mutong naturally understood why Tsing Hui wanted to find out about the Great Sun Core. After a while, he said, however, the arcane sect has been searching for the whereabouts of the Great Sun Core for many years without any useful information. If we want to obtain the Great Sun Core in a short period of time, I'm afraid it'll be a little difficult. Moreover, if we're too enthusiastic about the Great Sun Core, people might link it to us and speculate that the Scarlet Sun Demonic God is in our hands. That's a problem, but you don't have to worry too much. I have Tianxiong behind me. Even if people know that the Scarlet Sun Demonic God is in my hands, those venerated divine realm experts won't dare to openly snatch it. Even those lawful embodiment of heaven and earth experts have status. If they aren't afraid of Tianxiong killing them, they won't dare to provoke me. As for ordinary experts, we'll only know the outcome after the battle. Therefore, you could just ask around. You don't even need to hide. That would only make it more conspicuous. Your subordinate understands. I'll inform the Chamber of Commerce right away. Tsing Hui nodded. I don't only have the Scarlet Sun Demonic God now. I also have 2/3 of the refining materials for the second Scarlet Sun Demonic God. Therefore, I plan to go to the Arcane Sect's Mount Veritas to see if I can collect the materials for the second Scarlet Sun Demonic God. If I can forge 2 Scarlet Sun Demonic Gods, then it'll be truly foolproof. However, entering the Arcane Sect's headquarters on Mount Veritas is unavoidable. By then, there will be many divine realm experts. To prevent any accidents from happening, you should find a place to hide for the time being. I'll find you after I've dealt with the Arcane Sect. Duan Mutong knew that his golden elixir realm strength would only lead to death if he interfered in the battle with the Arcane Sect. Therefore, he nodded tactfully. Don't worry, Grand Supreme Elder. I'll protect myself well and definitely won't cause any trouble for you. Sing Hui nodded. He immediately mounted his sword and flew towards Mount Veritas. While Tsing Hui was flying towards Mount Veritas, the arcane sect in Mount Veritas had also received news from the surviving transformative realm expert from the Chaos Shrine. When he received this news, a chakra, who had originally prepared to hold everyone back with his life to buy time for Shakyamuni Luomao and Shakyamuni Juejin to forge the Scarlet Sun demonic god, immediately went berserk. No matter who you are, no matter what your identity is, no matter where you go, even to the ends of the earth, I'll definitely find you and avenge the two Shakyamuni of the arcane sect. Gather all the cultivators of the arcane sect and spread the news that the Scarlet Sun demonic god has fallen into that person's hands. Shakyamuni, I'm afraid that those people won't believe it. The leader of the arcane sect, Ao Xian, who was at the Golden Elixir realm, said with a sorrowful expression, Everything is my fault. If I hadn't wanted the arcane sect to forge the Scarlet Sun demonic god, the arcane sect wouldn't have become the target of public criticism and fallen to such a state. Shakyamuni, you can't be blamed for this, Ao Xian hurriedly said. Now that things have come to this, the great plan of the arcane sect has failed. What we need to do now is to make the person who ruined the great plan of the arcane sect pay the price. The mysterious expert who killed Luo Mao and Shakyamuni must be an almighty from the outside. I don't believe that the other major sects will turn a blind eye to these almighty from the outside, flaunting their prowess on the meteoric Iron Continent. Ao Xian, contact the leaders of the other major sects immediately. If anyone wants the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god, get them to come to my personal space to talk privately with me. Are we really going to hand over the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god? Currently, the only way to unite the other major sects is to use the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god as a foundation. Only then can we hope to find the culprit who killed Shakyamuni Luomao and Shakyamuni Juejin Shakyamuni Luomao and help the arcane sect tide over this crisis. A trace of pain flashed across Ao Xian's face when he heard this. The arcane sect had sacrificed too much for the Scarlet Sun demonic god, and now everything was for naught. For this, they had even paid the price of two Shakyamuni Luomao's lives. This time, the arcane sect could be said to have suffered a crushing defeat. Go, the inheritance of the arcane sect is more important than anything else. Yes, with a trace of pain, Ao Xian quickly entered the Chaos Temple and contacted the 7 major forces outside the arcane sect. The Ancient Shrine, the Divine Refining Clan, the Star Jade Sect, the Sage Evolution Dynasty, the Secluded Valley, the Cascole Mountain, and the Azure Wave Mansion. Not long after, the 7 major forces had each sent an almighty representative and several Golden Elixir realm higher-ups to Shakyamuni Eccentric's personal space. Each of them looked at Shakyamuni Eccentric, who was waiting there with a strange expression. Shakyamuni Eccentric, I heard that the arcane sect does not intend to monopolize the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god and has decided to contribute this refining method to benefit the entire meteorite Iron Continent. The Heavenly Cycle Starlord of the Star Jade sect asked immediately. Although the Star Jade sect was ranked 4th among the 8 major sects, they only had 2 almighties in the sect. As compared to the Ancient Shrine, the Arcane Sect, and the Divine Refining Clan, they were slightly weaker. Originally, their hopes of getting the Scarlet Sun demonic god were slim. Now that there was a chance to get the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god, they naturally could not wait. That's right. The Scarlet Sun demonic god is the refining method created by the strongest force in the meteorite Iron Continent, the Scarlet Sun cult. It is the property of the meteorite Iron Continent and naturally belongs to the meteorite Iron Continent. Only when every major sect in the meteorite Iron Continent has 2 to 3 Scarlet Sun demonic gods The sects in the meteorite iron continent will not be bullied by the experts from the other continents and will not be controlled by the large-scale chaotic organizations in the heaven wasteland world. Shakyamuni eccentric said in a deep voice. All right, Shakyamuni eccentric, I can promise you that if the arcane sect is willing to hand over the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god, the people in the ancient shrine will retreat immediately and never invade the Truth Mountain again. Real God Tian Ping of the ancient shrine said solemnly. After the Sacred Evolution Empire obtains the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god, we will retreat too. As for the secluded valley, as long as Shakyamuni eccentric is willing to hand over the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god, the secluded valley will never invade the Truth Mountain again. The other forces also expressed their stance one after another. If the 7 big sects were to snatch the Scarlet Sun demonic god from the hands of the arcane sect, along with the Almighties from the other continents, not only would it lead to a war, it would also lead to the death of a large number of experts in the sections. In the end, they might even miss the opportunity to obtain the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god, because there was only one Scarlet Sun demonic god. In such a situation, if they could obtain the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god without any losses, it would obviously be the best outcome. I naturally believe in all of you. If you want the arcane sect to hand over the refining method of the Scarlet Sun demonic god, I have a condition. Please speak, Shakyamuni eccentric. Real God Tian Ping said. The ancient shrine was the #1 force in the meteorite Ironland. As an almighty in the ancient shrine, real God Tian Ping's words naturally carried the most weight. I want all of you to kill 2 people on behalf of the arcane sect. If anyone can find the whereabouts of these 2 people, the arcane sect is willing to provide a portion of the refining materials of the Scarlet Sun demonic god. If anyone can capture these 2 people alive and hand them over to me for punishment, the arcane sect is even willing to hand over the Scarlet Sun demonic god that is about to be refined. Shakyamuni eccentric said coldly. What he said instantly lit up everyone's eyes at the same time. Who are you looking for? Please speak, Shakyamuni eccentric. If we know where these people are hiding, we will definitely inform Shakyamuni eccentric immediately. That's right, that's right. Although the 8 big sects of the meteorite Ironland have conflicts with each other, we should still try our best to remain united when dealing with outsiders. The representatives of the few big sects nodded one after another. Shakyamuni eccentric didn't waste any time, and he immediately passed the image that the transformative realm expert had given to the representatives of the 7 big sects. These 2 people. Looking at the 2 figures that Shakyamuni eccentric had presented, the eyes of the almighty of the divine smelting sect, Shakyamuni Saint Shakyamuni, who hadn't spoken much all this while they were enemies with the arcane sect, suddenly lit up. It's actually these 2 thieves. They actually dared to behave atrociously in the meteorite Ironland. How dare they? Updated at 5:00 p.m. Will this way be able to make a golden core realm complete? Chapter 574. Sacred Master Xiaoguang. Do you know these 2 people? Hearing Sacred Master Xiaoguang blurt out, Dharma King Aksu could not wait to ask. That's right. I have met these 2 people once. Sacred Master Xiaoguang's expression was a little ugly. After hesitating for a moment, he said, My divine refining sect has a chamber of commerce called Great Furnace. This chamber of commerce is a large sea-crossing chamber of commerce, specially funded by our divine refining sect. It is responsible for overseas trade, but it was completely wiped out when it went to an ordinary medium-sized continent called the Eastern Wilderness. At that time, I had also sent down my main battle avatar to help, but it was defeated by this child. According to our later investigation, this child is a native cultivator of that world. As for his cultivation, he has not reached the divine power realm. Hearing Sacred Master Xiaoguang's words, Sacred Master Swan Xiong from Casgold Mountain looked at Sacred Master Xiaoguang in surprise. It was no wonder that the divine refining sect had not been active in the recent period of time when the arcane art sect was clearly being targeted by everyone. They did not immediately become the leader, and lead many experts to attack the arcane art sect. It turned out that it was because one of Sacred Master Xiaowang's main battle avatars had been defeated. The weakening effect brought about by the defeat of the main battle avatar could not be underestimated. In a short period of time, the Divine Refining Sect had lost the battle strength of an Almighty. Compared to the Arcane Art Sect, they were already at a disadvantage. It was reasonable for them to temporarily disappear. Not the Divine Power Realm. How is this possible? Sacred Master Xiaowang's words shocked Dharma King Axu. Sacred Master Xiaowang, have you seen clearly that this person's cultivation is really not at the almighty level? Dharmaraja, please let me finish. Although this scoundrel has not reached the almighty realm, I guess that the quality of his Jindan must be extraordinary. This is something I could guess from the fact that I could not detect the aura of the Jindan realm from him. At first, I thought that it was because he had cracked his Jindan, but after I carefully looked into his history and background, I realized that the truth was not as simple as I thought. This child is a personal disciple that Master Zhu Zhao had taken him privately. Master Zhu Zhao had most likely given him an extremely powerful divine weapon. The power of this divine weapon is probably as great as the Tianxiong sword, allowing him to defeat almighties with the power of a superior or even a supreme Jindan. At this point, Xiaoguang's Saint Master said with some grievance, because of his identity and the fact that he destroyed my great Furnace Chamber of Commerce's team in the Eastern Barren World, my divine smelting clan didn't do anything to him. If it weren't for esteemed Zhu Zhao, the almighty of my divine smelting clan would have made him pay the price for bullying my Chamber of Commerce. Heavenly Torch, Venerable Master's disciple. He has a divine weapon of the same level as the Heavenly Sword. The Heavenly Sword, that's a 17th Order Peerless Divine Sword. It's said that the wielder of the Heavenly Sword can threaten the gods if he cooperates with others. Esteemed Zhu Zhao is actually willing to give a divine weapon that's almost as precious as the Heavenly Sword to his disciple who's only at the Golden Core stage. It seems that he really values this disciple. Hearing Sacred Master Xiaowang's words, everyone present could not help but exclaim. Heavenly Torch Venerable Master was one of the top 10 organizations of chaos, and there were 2 divine masters in it. Heavenly Torch Venerable Master was a supreme expert in Heavenly Torch Venerable Master, who was ranked in the top 10 of the entire Infinite Wasteland and even the Divine Wasteland. Not to mention the Divine Refining Sect, the Arcane Spell Sect, and the Ancient Shrine. Even if all the forces of the Meteorite Iron Continent joined forces, they would not be able to defeat Heavenly Torch Venerable Master. In front of such a colossus, the Divine Refining Sect's caravan had to be held back. So what if he is Heavenly Torch Venerable Master? When the powerful figures of the other forces were about to retreat, Master Axu said in a cold voice, "As far as I know, not long ago, the 5 Tao Masters of the Heavenly Tao joined forces to kill Heavenly Torch Venerable Master. Although Heavenly Torch Venerable Master, the Sword Holder, and Sword Master by Hung of the White Rainbow Sword Sect helped to resolve the crisis halfway through the plan, Heavenly Torch Venerable Master was seriously injured in that battle. It is estimated that he will need at least half a year to a year to recover. If his injury worsens, it will take him even longer to recover. At present, he does not have enough ability to intervene in the affairs of the Meteorite Iron Continent." Sacred Master Xiaowang and the others glanced at Master Axu, but did not say anything. Unless they were willing to pledge allegiance to the Heavenly Tao, Divine Wilderness, Eternal, and the other great forces, they would have to be at their beck and call. Otherwise, if they were to attack Heavenly Torch Venerable Master's disciple, it would be the same as challenging Heavenly Torch Venerable Master. Under the circumstances where they had reason and evidence, Heavenly Torch Venerable Master could totally ignore the rules and descend upon the Meteorite Iron Continent. By then, with Heavenly Torch Venerable Master's power, it would be a piece of cake for him to flatten the entire Meteorite Iron Continent. Master Axu understood the crowd's intention at once, and he could only settle for the next best thing. He said in a low voice, "Since you do not dare to attack Heavenly Torch Venerable Master's disciple, I will do it. I only need you to drive the other forces and almighties out of the meteorite iron continent. As for the thief named Tsing Hui, the arcane art cult will deal with him personally. After the matter is settled, the arcane art cult will hand over the refining method of the red sun demon god to you with both hands. All right. Hearing what Master Aksu had said, real god Tian Ping agreed without hesitation. Let's do as Master Aksu said. The Black Gold Land, Arclight Land, and the other middle-sized continents have the guts to step foot on the meteorite iron continent to show off their strength. All of them are simply tired of living. It's time for the few big sects to let them know who is in charge of the meteorite iron continent. That's right. These outsiders are really too presumptuous. If we don't drive all of them out and teach them a lesson, they will think that the meteorite iron continent is easy to bully. Master Aksu, don't worry. Leave these outsiders to us to deal with. The arcane art cult can focus on your own matters. The other few big sects and forces representatives also agreed one after another. They naturally didn't dare to offend Heavenly Torch Venerable Master. However, if the arcane art cult wanted to go, they wouldn't stop them. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. By then, even if Heavenly Torch Venerable Master really wanted to take revenge for his disciple, he would only look for the arcane art cult, and it wouldn't have anything to do with them. Even if the arcane art cult were to be destroyed by Heavenly Torch Venerable Master, there would be many benefits and no harm to the sections. That's it then. If any of you find out the whereabouts of this child, please inform us. Master Aksu said. Master Aksu, don't worry. If we see the two of them, we will inform you immediately. Shakyamuni, don't forget what you've promised us, 7 major sections. Otherwise, if you're unwilling to hand over the Scarlet Sun, Fiend Celestial, after we've chased those outsiders out, the 7 major sects will disregard our friendship and take it ourselves. Master Aksu nodded his head indifferently. Everyone, don't worry. That's good. Everyone discussed the details for a while more, and they left the Chaos Temple on their own very quickly. After everyone left, the Master of Arcane Art Cult, Xian, said worriedly, Master Aksu, that little thief has such an identity. If we were to really kill him, I'm afraid that it would really bring a calamity to the entire Arcane Art Cult. A calamity to the entire sect? You're overthinking it. To our arcane cult, this is not only a great disaster, but it can also be considered as an opportunity that will allow our arcane cult to preserve its vitality and prevent us from being swallowed up by other forces after losing 2 almighties. Xian was a little puzzled. Where's this opportunity? The situation in Tianxiong is not as optimistic as you imagine. The esteemed Zhu Zhao's injuries cannot be healed in a short period of time. Even if we really kill his disciple, Tsing Hui, and the esteemed Zhu Zhao recovers from his injuries, he may not be able to act against our arcane art cult. Don't forget, he is the stabilizing force of Tianxiong. How could he rashly leave Tianxiong and take action? As for sending ordinary great beings, or even peak great beings, a cold light flashed in Master Aksu's eyes. When our arcane art cult truly takes back the Red Sun Demon God, do you think we still need to fear those peak great beings at the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth level? Tianxiong was such a colossus. Xian could not help but feel uneasy about going up against such a colossus. Moreover, don't forget that Tsing Hui is suspected to have a 16th level divine weapon. If he really uses the power of the 16th level divine weapon to kill Lu Miao and Zhu Jian, that means that when we kill him, not only will we obtain the Red Sun Demon God, but we will also obtain this 16th level divine weapon. At that time, with the power of this 16th level divine weapon, would our arcane art cult fear any expert below the divine stage? 16th level divine weapon. Xian's eyes lit up slightly when he heard this. This is a huge gamble. Once we win, our arcane art cult will truly usher in an opportunity to soar into the sky. Even if we can't achieve the glory of the Red Sun cult that almost unified the meteorite iron continent, we can still surpass the ancient shrine and become the #1 sect on the meteorite iron continent. As for what would happen if the gamble failed, Master Axa did not say, and Ao Xian did not need to ask. Everyone was well aware. All right, go quickly. Find out Tsing Hui's whereabouts as quickly as possible. This is the most critical moment for our arcane art cult. We can't afford any more delays. Master Axu said coldly. Yes. Ao Xian responded solemnly and quickly did as he was told. The arcane art cult was the local tyrant of the meteorite Iron Continent. Even if their forces had shrunk to the Mountain of Truth and could not be investigated, they still had many eyes and ears in addition. From the second day onwards, the other 7 sacred sects suddenly launched a war of expulsion against all external forces. As a result, the arcane art cult was no longer trapped in one place, and their influence spread without restraint. Finally, on the third day, a piece of news regarding Tsing Hui was delivered to Master Axu. A cold glint flashed in Master Axu's eyes when he read this piece of news. How bold of him to not leave after killing 2 of our arcane art cult's great guardian kings and obtaining the Scarlet Sun demon god. Instead, he wants to go one step further and annihilate our arcane art cult. He's simply courting death. Master Axu, according to our investigation, this boy has a 12th grade flying sword with him and is extremely fast. If we're not careful, we'll probably let him escape. If we want to kill him, we'll have to set up a trap and trap him. Only then can we win with a single strike. Ao Xian said. A trap. Dharma King ACU looked at the information in his hand. This lad is greedy. He actually continuously knocked out and captured the golden core experts of my arcane sect. It must be to interrogate them about the primal chaos incantation. This trap can be used from this aspect. Although my arcane sect foundation is mediocre, we still have several great formations with astonishing power. Among them, the 8-directional dragon trapping formation can even form an absolute space. If we can lure him into the 8-directional dragon trapping formation, even if his flying sword is only at the 12th grade, he can forget about escaping alive even if his flying sword is at the 13th or 14th grade. Then Master Axa means bait. Lure him to death. Continue with the next wave. Chapter 575. The 8 major sects of the meteorite continent have joined forces to expel the foreign forces. Tsing Hui shuttled through the battlefield outside the Mountain of Truth with a strange look on his face. Fortunately, there were many experts in the 8 major sects, but the foreign forces were not weak either. Excluding the arcane art cult, there were a total of 20 almighties. Among these almighties, there were originally 5 almighties from the 7 major sects, but with the arrival of 2 more almighties, there were now 7. In other words, the remaining 13 almighties belonged to the foreign forces. Among the 13 almighties, 6 of them were in hiding and had yet to show themselves, causing the 8 major sects to think that there were only 7 almighties present. 7 against 7, including the almighties from the arcane art cult and the many golden core realm cultivators. They thought that it would be easy to expel the almighties. Without waiting for more forces to arrive, they directly attacked the almighties from the foreign forces and issued an ultimatum. This move was like poking a hornet's nest, causing the battlefield to become extremely chaotic. Among them, the 6 great powerhouses hiding in the dark formed 2 groups of 3, directly avoiding the obstruction of the great powerhouses of the other sects and slaughtering their way into the profound art cult. While the formations of the profound art cult were open, they directly killed their way into the profound art cult. They were basically trying to capture the leader, finding the Scarlet Sun demon god first, and taking him for themselves. Under these circumstances, Qing Su obviously followed the chaotic groups into the Truth Mountain. Every few days, he would find an opportunity to heavily injure a Golden Core Realm expert, knocking them unconscious and controlling them before directly putting them into his personal space. In just a few moments, the number of Golden Core Realm experts captured alive by him had reached 22. Very good. The progress of the perfected Golden Core Realm is nearly 1/10 complete. Tsing Hui's figure shuttled back and forth. He had cultivated the upright, shadowless art. Even though he had only just reached the entry level, it had greatly reduced his presence. Even if he was targeted, as long as he avoided the battlefield, his enemies would instinctively not want to waste time on him. In addition, the aura he emitted was only at the level of the golden elixir realm, so the powerful figures of the other great sects were not willing to attack him. Without the obstruction of the powerful figures, he was like a fish in water in this chaotic battle, free and easy. Of course, what he didn't know was that the main reason why the almighties of the other sects didn't deal with him personally was because they were afraid of his background and his identity as Master Zhu Zhao's personal disciple. Damn it! The elders of my arcane art cult must not be sacrificed in vain. A mere golden core cultivator dares to act so presumptuously in my arcane art cult. Allow me to personally kill him. At this time, a fierce shout suddenly came from Tsing Hui's side, and at the same time, the auras of more than a dozen golden core stage experts swept over. These dozen or so golden elixir realm experts were obviously led by a man who appeared to be less than 30 years old. That man originally wanted to stop Tsing Hui, but he was firmly restrained by the dozen or so golden elixir realm cultivators around him. During this process, there was a dispute which attracted Tsing Hui's attention. Not good, he found out. Let's go. Young hierarch, this man is extraordinary. He must have cultivated an upper-grade golden core. You must not risk your life. You are the future seed of our arcane arts sect, the young hierarch. You're someone above the 20th level of the chaotic plane. If you were to be killed by him, the consequences would be unimaginable. Let's leave this place first and meet up with the hierarch. The few golden elixir realm elders growled and led the man who was addressed as the young hierarch into the depths of the arcane art cult without any explanation. Young hierarch? Hierarch? Tsing Hui's gaze swept across the dozen or so people, and a glint flashed across his eyes. A young hierarch, a hierarch-level figure, should have quite a lot of good stuff on him. If I can capture him alive, not only can I increase my cultivation, I can also obtain quite a lot of treasures. Why not? Tsing Hui didn't know what was going on, so he chased after them. After chasing for a short while, Tsing Hui sensed that something was amiss, and his expression changed slightly. No one has come to stop me. Could it be a trap? Forget it. Even if the Scarlet Sun Demon God's materials were to be kept, they shouldn't be on the hierarch. After all, the hierarch of the arcane art sect must always appear in front of others to convince the almighties outside that the arcane art sect's Dharma King Luo Miao, Dharma King Zhu Jian, and the others are still in the arcane art sect. From the looks of it, the hierarch is probably a pawn that is prepared to be sacrificed. Since he's prepared to be sacrificed, he naturally wouldn't leave anything too precious on him. Even if I capture him alive, there won't be many benefits. When he thought of that, Qing Su turned around and charged towards the outskirts. It was better for him to follow the 6 almighties who had barged into the Mountain of Truth and take advantage of the situation. As if sensing Tsing Hui's intention to retreat, dozens of golden elixir realm cultivators rushed out from the arcane art sect. These people seemed to be heading to the front line as reinforcements. When they saw Tsing Hui, their faces lit up with joy. Each of them shouted and rushed forward, surrounding him with all their might to kill him. Just in time. Tsing Hui had a faint smile on his face as he met the golden elixir realm cultivators head-on. Summoning the Scarlet Abyss sword, the sword light whistled and instantly pierced through the bodies of 4 golden elixir realm cultivators. The brilliant sword intent mixed with the sword light slashed into the bodies of the 6 golden elixir realm cultivators, severely injuring them on the spot. Then he extended his personal space and enveloped the 4 golden elixir realm cultivators. The divine sword in his hand is too powerful. We can't stop it. Retreat. Retreat. Retreat quickly. The Vice Hierarch is presiding over the formation at the back. The Vice Hierarch is a top son of chaos who has mastered several levels of the divine art. We can use the formation to concentrate our strength on the Vice Hierarch and let him use the might of the divine art to defeat this boy and rescue the elders who were just captured by him. Leave quickly, don't fight recklessly." The Golden Elixir Realm elders cried out at the same time. After sensing Tsing Hui's strength, they quickly retreated into the arcane sect. Tsing Hui stepped forward once more and gave chase for a moment. After capturing 3 Golden Elixir Realm cultivators alive, he immediately felt that something was amiss. What's going on? Even though these Golden Elixir Realm cultivators are fighting with me, the feeling they give me is that they're trying to lure me into the arcane cult. With that in mind, Tsing Hui didn't dare to advance recklessly. He activated his Qi observation technique and looked in the direction where the Golden Elixir Elders had retreated. What he saw was a pillar of Qi that was slightly stronger than that of Shakyamuni Luomiao and Shakyamuni Juejin Shakyamuni. It seemed to be waiting for him to fall into a trap. To possess such a powerful aura within the arcane arts sect, Dharma King Iko Su. He is the #1 expert of the arcane sect, Dharma King Eccentric. He is also the #2 expert on the meteorite iron continent, second only to the celestial phenomenon of heaven and earth, radiant flame god king. Tsing Hui's expression was grave. Not only was Dharma King Iko Su a peak divine power realm expert, waiting for him to fall into a trap, the Yuan Qi around him had also become distorted and chaotic. Even the laws of space were disturbed and affected to a certain extent. Clearly, there must be a powerful formation there. Once he stepped into the formation, the other party would be able to activate the formation and close off the space. When that time came, he would have to rely on a large number of variables to escape. Dharma King Iko Su actually set up a formation to lure me into a trap? Could it be when I destroyed the arcane arts sect's branch, there were still some survivors who slipped through the net? Tsing Hui immediately thought of this problem. If there were any survivors in that branch, they would definitely have informed Dharma King Iko Su of his strength and the news of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. It was precisely because of this that Dharma King Iko Su had set up an ambush for him. Furthermore, all the outsiders are here for the Scarlet Sun Demon God. If Dharma King Iko Su spreads the news that the Scarlet Sun Demon God is in my possession. Thinking of this, Tsing Hui turned around and charged out of the arcane arts sect. This little thief is on guard. Attack, stop him. Dharma King Iko Su, who was in the arcane arts sect's 8-sided dragon trapping formation, saw Tsing Hui turn around and intend to leave. He immediately let out a low growl and charged at Tsing Hui. At the same time, a mirror-like manifestation of a divine power appeared on his body. Rays of mirror-like light shot out from this divine power, causing the space around Tsing Hui to become slightly distorted. Even though he was clearly flying out of the arcane arts sect in a straight line, in the eyes of others, he was moving in an arc. This divine power, Tsing Hui's expression changed slightly. His sword will erupted, and the dazzling sword light of the Scarlet Abyss sword was unleashed. An illusory image of a blazing sun seemed to condense in the void, bringing with it rolling heat as it slashed forward. Break for me. However, not long after this blazing sun-like sword light slashed through the distorted void, its trajectory was also distorted and dissipated in all directions. Like a blazing sun caught by a black hole, it gradually disintegrated into a blazing radiance that was projected outside the distorted space. This divine power actually has various characteristics of trapping the target and diverting attacks. Even my attack, which is close to the pinnacle of the divine power realm, can't break through this layer of mirror-like distortion. No wonder everyone on the meteorite iron continent calls Dharma King Iko Su the strongest divine power on the meteorite iron continent. Tsing Hui sensed that Dharma King Iko Su was rapidly approaching behind him and immediately took a deep breath. The brilliant sword will in his spiritual world completely erupted, as if it had turned into a dazzling, blazing sun, sweeping up all the energy in the Scarlet Abyss sword and exploding outwards. Numerous energies continuously split and fused at the same time as they slashed out, causing the power of the sword to soar once again. As circles of ripples spread in all directions, The mirror light that almost distorted the void instantly shattered and collapsed. A blazing red sword, Qi, brazenly tore a gap in the distorted space. This is a great divine power. This is already a great divine power. Dharma King Iko Su's expression turned ugly when he sensed the terrifying power contained in Tsing Hui's sword. His divine power could block ordinary divine power attacks, and could even reflect the opponent's divine power through the distortion of the mirror light. However, a great divine power level attack clearly exceeded the limits of what he could reflect and even the distortion limit. Right now, he could only watch as Tsing Hui broke through his divine power. After breaking through Dharma King Iko Su's divine power, Tsing Hui did not dare to stay any longer. Taking advantage of this gap, the Sky Splitter sword's sword speed completely erupted, shooting into the void like a stream of light. In the blink of an eye, it pierced through the clouds and disappeared without a trace. Escape? You can run, but you can't run. I know a top-notch void walker who can travel to any corner of the divine wilderness great world with the help of a 10th order personal space. The hidden sword continent, the eastern wastelands, I'll go to them one by one. When that time comes, I'd like to see how long you can hide. Chapter 576. Disciplined King Aksu's furious voice reverberated in the void, echoing throughout the mountain of truth. Tsing Hui, who had almost flown out of the mountain of truth on his sword, frowned slightly. Disciplined King Aksu actually knew about his background and planned to ask the Void Walkers, who had a 10th level personal space, to directly attack the Hidden Sword mainland and Eastern Wilderness. The Hidden Sword mainland was entrusted by the Hidden Sword Venerable to look after. If the Hidden Sword mainland was destroyed because of him snatching the Scarlet Sun Demon God, how could he feel at ease? And the Eastern Wastelands was the first piece of land he had come to in this world. It held a special meaning to him. He could not just stand by and watch as Dharma King Iko Su led many golden elixir cultivators to invade. Therefore, the problem of Disciplined King Aksu must be solved. Dharma King Iko Su's Abhijna is rather effective against me. Unless I use the Sword of Sunburst to break his Abhijna, my other attacks will be completely distorted by his mirror-like Abhijna. If the power of my attack is not enough, he will even shift my attack back to me. And the Sword of Sunburst, the Scarlet Abyss sword, cannot be used too many times. Tsing Hui's Scarlet Abyss sword was only at the 14th level. Even though he was constantly nourishing it with his essence, qi, and spirit, there was still some time before it could be upgraded to a 5th level divine weapon. It was estimated that only at the moment when the divine power was born could it be upgraded to a 5th level divine weapon. Before reaching the 5th level, the number of times he could use Sunburst was limited. He probably could not completely exhaust Disciplined King Aksu's divine power before the Scarlet Abyss sword was broken. After all, no matter how weak a powerful person was, it was not a problem to use 20 to 30 divine powers. Want to kill me? I want to see if the Arcane Arts sect has the ability to do so. Tsing Hui turned around. His originally escaping figure once again charged toward the interior of the Mountain of Truth. Seeing that Tsing Hui had actually turned around and returned, Disciplined King Aksu's eyes lit up. He did not expect that threatening him with the Eastern Wilderness and Hidden Sword mainland would actually work. Immediately, he, who had originally planned to reveal the secret that the Scarlet Sun Demon God was on Tsing Hui, quickly stopped thinking and charged toward Tsing Hui. However, he had only received the attack for a moment when he realized that Tsing Hui wasn't coming for him, but he dashed towards the 3 golden core realm elders of the Arcane Arts sect who had gathered together to kill a foreign cultivator. "Be careful," Dharma King Aksa shouted. However, it was too late. Tsing Hui was riding his sword at full speed. His speed was incomparably fast. The sword light formed by Sky Splitter seemed to be able to truly tear apart the heavens and shatter the vacuum. It drew a fissure-like trajectory in the void at an inconceivable speed as it directly attacked the 3 golden core elders. Before the three elders could even react, the scarlet abyss sword light mixed with blazing sword intent had already fiercely collided with the three golden core elders. Accompanied by flames and energy ripples that sputtered in all directions, the three golden core elders were directly heavily injured, knocked unconscious, and sent into his personal space. Damn it, stop! With a low growl, disciplined King Isu stepped on the void and swiftly chased after Tsinghui. Along the way, when the foreign almighty saw him, they actually didn't dare to stop him and quickly avoided him. Since these foreign almighties had set their sights on the meteorite Iron Continent, they naturally had already thoroughly investigated the many experts on the meteorite Iron Continent beforehand. They were very familiar with the abilities of disciplined King Isu, the second strongest expert on the meteorite Iron Continent. Therefore, unless it was in existence who had excavated their own abygina to the peak level, no one dared to fight him head-on. Swish! Disciplined King Isu attacked aggressively, but Tsinghui did not fight him head-on at all. Sword light shot out in all directions. Before Disciplined King Isu could bring him into his attack range, he had already shot toward another golden core battlefield. The flying speed of a flying sword itself was related to the spiritual level of a cultivator. Although Tsinghui's spiritual level had not yet reached the 120th level, which was comparable to the level of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, it had already reached the critical point of the 119th level. Among the many almighties present, Disciplined King Isu was probably the only one whose spiritual level could be compared to his. However, the flying sword under his feet was not even at the 11th level, let alone the 12th level. It was only a high-grade 10th level flying sword. Compared to the 12th level Sky Splitter, this flying sword was naturally inferior by more than a level. As a result, he could only watch as Tsinghui relied on his terrifying speed to constantly avoid his attacks and move around in all directions. In just a few breaths of time, another 2 golden core elders were killed by him, and 8 golden core elders were captured alive and kept in his personal space. I can't stop him at all by myself. After chasing for a long time, Disciplined King Isu had no choice but to face this reality. I must ask another almighty to cooperate with me. His gaze turned and quickly fell on Saint Emperor Taiyan of the Sacred Evolution Empire. Saint Emperor Taiyan, please help me block Tsinghui for a moment. I, Isu, will definitely reward you handsomely. Saint Emperor Taiyan looked at Tsinghui, who was standing on a 12th level flying sword and wielding at least a 5th level divine weapon. His eyes were filled with greed and envy, but more than that, he was wary of him. The fact that esteemed Zhu Zhao had given him a 12th level flying sword and 5th level divine weapon showed how important Tsinghui was to the esteemed Zhu Zhao. As for Tsinghui himself, he had lived up to esteemed Zhu Zhao's expectations. It was said that he had cultivated for less than 40 years and had reached the level of an upper-grade gold core expert, or even a peerless gold core expert. He had great hopes of becoming an almighty in the future and could be called the seed of an almighty. If such a genius died, esteemed Zhu Zhao would definitely go crazy. When that time came, no force on the meteorite Iron Continent would be able to withstand his wrath. If Saint Emperor Taiyan dared to intervene, he would have to wait for esteemed Zhu Zhao's revenge and bring about the destruction of the Sacred Evolution Empire. Saint Emperor Taiyan thought to himself, I just received news that the 3 kings of the Sacred Evolution Empire are under attack. I have to rush over to help as soon as possible. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. With that, he flew to the other side of the battlefield. Damn it, Dharma King Aksu turned his gaze and looked at Yuan Shu Celestial Lord who belonged to Star Jade's sect in the distance. Yuan Shu Celestial Lord, this brat is arrogant. He wantonly killed the elders of my arcane arts sect. Please help me stop this brat. Yuan Shu Star Lord glanced at Dharma King Aksu and then at Saint Emperor Taiyan, who was the closest to Dharma King Aksu but was now far away. He seemed to have understood something and said, Dharma King Aksu, didn't we agree that we would only be responsible for driving away the invaders? This Tsinghui is not within our range. I'll give you 10% of the materials. If Yuan Shu Star Lord is willing to help me stop this man, the arcane sect is willing to give you 10% of the materials to refine the Scarlet Sun demonic god. Yuan Shu Star Lord shook his head. Sorry, I won't help. 30%. 30% of the materials. There's no need to say more, Dharma King Axu. Dealing with the personal disciple of Venerable Zhu Zhao is too risky. The Star Jade sect will not take this risk. Yuan Shu Star Lord did not say anything more to Dharma King Axu. He turned and rushed to the other side of the battlefield, far away from Dharma King Axu and Tsing Hui. Cowardly as a mouse, Tianxiong is already at the end of his rope, and Venerable Zhu Zhao can't even protect himself. What's there to be afraid of? Dharma King Axu was furious. However, he also understood that the Star Jade sect and the Saint Evolution dynasty were different from the Arcane sect. The Arcane sect had lost 2 Almighties, and there was no telling how many Golden Core Elders would fall in this battle. They were destined to suffer great losses and even fall to the bottom of the meteorite continent. For the sake of the sect's legacy, they had to take the risk to capture Tsing Hui and force him to hand over the Scarlet Sun demonic god. This was the only way to ensure the continuation of the sect's legacy. However, the other 7 sacred sects did not need to take this risk and gamble the future of their entire sect. Golden Core. No matter how strong Tsing Hui is, he's only a Golden Core cultivator. I don't believe he can hold on for long. Even if I have to use the life of a Gold Core Realm Elder, I will still capture and kill him. Only by capturing him can our profound art cult be said to still have hope. Otherwise, if I am the only one left bitterly holding on, when this matter is over, the Divine Refinement sect will be the first to not let our profound art cult off. Dharma King Axu hardened his heart and ordered the Golden Core Elders who were fleeing in all directions. Everyone, form a battle formation and stop him. I don't hope to defeat him, just stop him so that I can kill him personally. Yes, the many Golden Core Elders who received the order felt their hearts go numb, but they still held on and quickly formed a large formation with 20 to 30 people as the foundation. They quickly blocked Tsing Hui's path and compressed Tsing Hui's living space. Not long after, Tsing Hui, who had nowhere to run, had already collided with a battle formation. 26 Golden Core Elders. Tsing Hui's eyes narrowed. Sun Glory, man and sword as one. With the Scarlet Abyss sword as a guide, he was like a meteor that tore through the sky, fiercely crashing into the battle formation formed by the 26 Golden Core Elders. The moment he crashed into the battle formation, it was as if a scorching sun had been brazenly detonated. A dazzling radiance shone in all directions, so strong that it was almost impossible to open one's eyes. Within that radiance, countless sword lights that seemed to be the same color as the light wildly shot out in all directions. With Tsing Hui as the center, it seemed to form a sword chi storm, instantly engulfing the 26 Golden Core Elders at the same time. Even if Tsing Hui deliberately scattered the sword chi and reduced its power, there were still 4 Golden Core Elders who died on the spot. As for those who were heavily injured and unable to fight, there were even 12 people who were sent into his personal space with a wave of his hand. There are still 10 more. This is almost equivalent to a Golden Crow's inner core, a full 100 Tao rhythms. Qing Su's figure flickered. Before the 10 Golden Core powerhouses could even return to their senses from the devastating blow, a dazzling streak of light illuminated the sky once more. He heavily injured the 3 Golden Core Elders and sent them into his personal space once more. His coordination throughout the entire process had become even more adept. However, this delay allowed Discipline King Isu's attack to descend with a loud bang. As the divine mirror-like ability behind him appeared once again, countless mirror lights shone down, completely distorting the void within a radius of dozens of miles where Tsing Hui was. Unfortunately, Tsing Hui, who was already prepared, did not wait for the distorting power to completely form. The power in the Scarlet Abyss sword had already completely erupted. A dazzling and resplendent light burst out from the distorted void, accompanied by a fierce and mighty blazing sword light. It tore a gap in the distorted void, allowing Tsing Hui to successfully escape and once again shoot toward the next Golden Core Elder formation. This kind of attack again. The power of this attack completely exceeds what a Golden Core cultivator like you can possess. Even if you have a peerless Golden Core, or even a supreme Golden Core, you definitely can't unleash an attack of this level too many times. When you can't unleash an attack of this level again, it'll be the time for you to be captured. Disciplined King Isu's eyes were filled with uncontrollable fury. The loss of 19 Golden Core Elders made his heart ache. However, now, other than walking down the path of darkness, he had no other choice. No matter how great the sacrifice was, he still had to continue. It is said that the characteristics of villains are their lofty ideals and heroic spirit. Chapter 577, 144, 146, 149. Tsing Hui broke through the air with his sword. Relying on the advantage of speed brought by the Sky Splitter sword, he left Dharma King Aoshu's pursuit behind him time and time again. In just a few moments, he had already defeated 6 battle formations formed by the Profound Art Sect. Including the Golden Elixir Realm Elders he had captured earlier, the number of them had reached 150. As the prize for breaking through, his Sunbur sword had also slashed out 8 times. I can't continue like this. Otherwise, the time needed to repair the damage to the Scarlet Abyss sword will increase exponentially. After breaking through this square formation, Tsing Hui had no choice but to stop temporarily. Then, he turned around and transformed into Sword Light, rushing out of the Truth Mountain. Clearly, he was planning to retreat temporarily. Otherwise, if he fell into Dharma King Aoshu's trap again, his life might really be in danger. No, seeing that Tsing Hui had actually turned around and fled after paying such a huge price, Dharma King Aoshu roared furiously. Tsing Hui, Aoshu, swear to the heavens that even if I have to go to the ends of the earth, I will cross the void and hunt you down until you die. Now, I will contact the Voidwalkers and directly descend on the Eastern Wasteland continent where you came from. I will definitely wash the entire Eastern Wasteland continent in blood and turn it into a river of blood. Wait until you can successfully return to the Eastern Wasteland continent. Tsing Hui laughed coldly and quickly disappeared into the horizon. However, although he spoke casually, his heart was filled with solemnity. It was not empty words to let a powerful person like Dharma King Aoshu descend on the Eastern Wasteland continent and wash it with blood. However, he did not have the power to stop Dharma King Aoshu. The only thing he could do now was to delay and think of ways to delay the speed of Dharma King Aoshu's journey to the Eastern Wasteland continent or the Hidden Sword continent. The Hidden Sword continent is a little better. They possess powerful defensive capabilities, especially the sword array on the Burial Sword Peak. If I control it, killing Dharma King Eccentric would not be a difficult task. The key is the Eastern Wastelands. What I can do now is to find that Voidwalker and get him to use his incarnation technique before he does. That way, I can at least buy a month. As long as I can buy a month, whether I repair the Morning Heaven Realm or by the Great Sun Core, I will be able to smoothly turn the situation around and resolve this stalemate. Tsing Hui thought to himself as all sorts of information about the Voidwalkers flashed through his mind. Back in the day, he had helped the Milky Way Commerce to become a Voidwalker. In order to figure out how much he was paid, he naturally had some understanding of the people in the circle of Voidwalkers. There were not many Voidwalkers in the first place, and there were even fewer high-level Voidwalkers who could possess a Tier 10 personal space. After a series of thoughts flashed through his mind, he directly activated the deduction spell and began to deduce who the Voidwalker that Dharma King Aoshu had befriended was. As the information of the Voidwalkers flashed through his mind one by one, Tsing Hui quickly locked onto 2 people. Voidwalker Ming Ke of the Vientiane Commerce Chamber of Commerce and Ensure of the Annihilation Sect. Seeing we had some cooperation with the Vientiane Commerce Chamber of Commerce and also had some transactions with the Annihilation Sect. After pondering for a moment, he took the initiative to contact Xing Fu of the Vientiane Commerce Chamber of Commerce. Your Excellency Pak Hui, haha, do you have some kind of treasure that you need to sell? It's definitely the right choice to come to our Vientiane Commerce Chamber of Commerce. President Xing Fu, I'm contacting President Xing this time because I want to discuss a deal with Your Excellency Ming Quebec. I wonder if President Xing can give me an introduction. Venerable Ming K. Xing Fu was a little surprised. After a while, he said, I'll let Ming K know, but I still have to make it clear to Your Excellency Pak Hui first. Venerable Ming K is a respected void walker of our Chamber of Commerce, and I can't order him around. Please forgive me, Your Excellency Pak Hui. I understand. Xing Hui nodded. Xing Fu responded and quickly went to contact Ming Quebec. After a while, Xing Fu received a response and said regretfully, I'm sorry, Your Excellency Pak Hui. Venerable Ming K just sent something to the neighboring continents 4 days ago. He has to rest for a few dozen days before accepting another mission. Therefore, I'm afraid we won't be able to help. Rest for a few dozen days. Xing Hui had a faint smile on his face. He did not look disappointed. Venerable Ming K's matter was resolved. Thank you, President Xing Fu. Xing Hui thanked him. I'm sorry that I couldn't help, Your Excellency Pak Hui. I hope we can cooperate in other areas in the future. Of course. Xing Hui replied and quickly headed toward the Annihilation Sect's encampment in the Chaos Temple. He cultivated the world-burning technique of the Annihilation Sect, and he had to give his cultivation experience to the Annihilation Sect for every realm. He had only given his cultivation experience to the true energy realm and the transformative realm. Due to time constraints, he did not give his cultivation experience to the eternal realm and the golden elixir realm. Whoosh! As Xing Hui's figure shuttled through the air, he arrived at the entrance of a large temple built on the crater of a volcano. However, what surprised Xing Hui the most about the Annihilation Sect was not the numerous volcanic craters in this personal space, but the 3 blazing suns in the sky. Individually, these 3 suns were not as powerful as the one in the sky. However, when the 3 suns were connected together and used a special method to form a unique scorching sun domain, it allowed any fire attribute cultivator to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Relying on this holy land for cultivation, the Annihilation Sect had nurtured countless top experts. In the entire Tianhuang region, the Annihilation Sect is the most likely to have a great sun core. I wonder if I can purchase a great sun core from the Annihilation Sect. Xing Hui muttered to himself. He had a vague guess. If he was truly willing to share the theories related to fission and fusion with the Annihilation Sect, then with this cultivation experience that could push the Burning World art to a higher level, it would not be a problem for him to exchange for a sun core from the Annihilation Sect. The difference was, he could not bear to part with it. Forget it. Although the fission and fusion experiences are hard to come by, the most important thing now is to resolve the crisis before me as soon as possible and resist the revenge of the arcane sect's Dharma King Aksu. If I can't resist the revenge of Dharma King Aksu, what's the use even if I bring this experience and knowledge to the grave? At this thought, he was already heading toward the reception area in front of the plaza. Sir, may I know why you've come to the Annihilation Sect? A disciple at the reception area noticed Xing Hui's extraordinary appearance and asked respectfully. I'm a cultivator of the world-burning technique and currently have a new understanding of it. If this technique is perfected, it will definitely increase the power of the world-burning technique many times over. It might even make the world-burning technique reach the level of a supreme scripture. Therefore, I want to make a deal with the higher-ups of the Annihilation Sect who can make the decision. A new understanding of the world-burning technique? If it's perfected, it can reach the level of a supreme scripture. The disciple in charge of the reception held his breath. He naturally knew how important it would be to the entire Annihilation Sect if the world-burning technique could become a supreme scripture. He hurriedly said, Sir, please wait for a moment. I'll immediately inform the higher-ups of the Annihilation sect. Tsing nodded. He did not have to wait for long. Soon, a voice mixed with the power to split open the void descended. So it's my young friend Pak Hui. Please step onto this void bridge and come to my courtyard for a chat. Tsing Hui stepped onto the void bridge. The space around him immediately changed rapidly. As the environment shuttled and distorted, he appeared in a hovering palace less than 100 meters from the crater of a volcano in the blink of an eye. 100 meters below him was the churning and surging magma of the crater. A middle-aged woman who looked to be in her 30s and two elders were already waiting in the palace. Sect Master Nanli. Tsing Hui bowed slightly to the woman in the lead. Annihilation Sect Master Nan Li also nodded slightly and introduced. These two are our Annihilation Sect's Elder Yu Yi and Elder Jinyang. These two elders have a deep understanding of the world-burning technique. If Sir Pak Hui has any new understanding of the world-burning technique, please tell the two elders. The two elders will definitely be able to judge its value. Sir Pak Hui will also receive the gratitude of our Annihilation Sect. Of course. Tsing Hui turned to Elder Yu Yi and Elder Jinyang and said directly, the ultimate derivation of any ability related to the fire attribute is the four great origin flames. They're the Grand Sun True Fire, Nanmingli Fire, Red Lotus Fire, and Xianming Ghost Fire. Among these four flames, the Grand Sun True Fire is the strongest in terms of power and dominance. The world-burning technique is no exception. I cultivate the world-burning technique with the help of the core of the Grand Sun in the sky. I observe the changes of the Grand Sun and the wonders of the golden crow in the core of the sun day and night. I can vaguely sense the true essence of the operation of the sun. Based on this essence and a sword technique that Swordmaster Bai Hung taught me, I finally cultivated the third level of the world-burning technique in a completely different way. Swordmaster Bai Hung? When Nanli heard Tsing Hui mention this name, she was slightly surprised. I didn't expect Lady Pak Hui to know Swordmaster Bai Hung other than being related to esteemed Zhu Zhao. You really have a wide circle of friends. Just like how the sky was held up by esteemed Zhu Zhao alone, the Rainbow Sword sect relied on Swordmaster Bai Hung to hold up the main part of the sky. Although her strength was weaker than esteemed Zhu Zhao, and she was not listed as one of the top 10 strongest, she was very young. In addition, her strength was second only to the top 10 strongest, so her reputation was not inferior to that of esteemed Zhu Zhao. Many times, the name of Swordmaster Bai Hung was more useful than esteemed Zhu Zhao's name. Sect Master Nanli is too kind. This is my idea for the third level of the world-burning technique, and I have already put it into action. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, he directly condensed a piece of information into a jade talisman and handed it to Sect Master Nanli. Sect Master Nanli glanced at the jade talisman. In just a moment, she saw the mystery in it. Her expression immediately became serious. Elders, please take a look. All right. Elder Yu Yi and Elder Jinyang could not wait to take the jade talisman. After probing it with their minds and carefully studying it, their faces immediately revealed a look of surprise. This idea, fission, fusion, the endless energy in the people's bodies actually comes from this. The two elders' gazes were immediately attracted by Tsing Hui's jade talisman, and they began to carefully study it. However, they had only studied it for a moment when they were shocked to find that there was nothing else. Where's the rest? Where's the rest? Where's the information about fusion? Jinyang could not wait to ask. Elders, please don't be impatient. Tsing Hui had a faint smile on his face. Elders, why don't you go and verify the validity of my theory first? When the time comes, we can discuss the transaction. Chapter 578. Elder Jinyang and Elder Yu Yi were extremely efficient. They had done a lot of research on the world-burning art. Now that they had obtained Tsing Hui's train of thought, they verified it for less than 2 hours before returning. How is it? Sect Master Nanli asked. She had also seen Tsing Hui's new understanding of the world-burning art. If what he said was true, the power of the world-burning art would definitely increase by a large margin, reaching a level that was not inferior to a supreme divine power. At that time, the Annihilation Sect's Endless Realm experts would be twice as strong as ordinary Endless Realm experts. Not to mention the Golden Core Realm and the Divine Power Realm that had yet to be derived. Very good. The increase in power is beyond my imagination. However, the drawbacks are also very obvious. Unless one polishes their true chi to the extreme and controls it to the extreme, the slightest carelessness will cause one's true chi to go out of control and explode into nothing. Under normal circumstances, this is indeed the case. Xing Hui said, however, everyone, don't forget that after the Endless Realm is the Golden Core Realm. What is the Golden Core Realm the most? Time. 3 to 4 times the lifespan of the Endless Realm and Transformative Realm experts, allowing them sufficient time to polish their true chi and increase their control over it. Furthermore, I can assure you that if you really condense your Golden Core using this method, the first attack of the Golden Core Realm will be 3 times stronger than an ordinary Golden Core Realm expert. If you can have a formation, even if it's an ordinary formation that can only increase the effect by 30 to 50%, it can allow 10 Golden Core Realm experts to work together to launch an attack that is not inferior to a divine power. With the help of a formation, 10 Golden Core Realm experts can launch an attack that is not inferior to a divine power attack. This prospect immediately made Nan Li's eyes light up. It should be known that in the cultivation world, only one almighty in 3 to 400 Golden Elixir Realm cultivators would be able to cultivate remarkable powers. Even though the Annihilation Sect was a top-notch sect, and the probability of a Golden Elixir Realm cultivator breaking through to the Almighty Realm was relatively high, only 1 in 200 Golden Elixir Realm cultivators would be able to break through. In the entire Annihilation Sect, there were 4,000 Golden Elixir Realm Elders. Usually, these 4,000 elders could rely on battle formations to fend off dozens of almighties. If they were to defend the mountain gate, they would be able to keep out almost 100 almighties. However, all of this could only be done under the favorable conditions of the right time, place, and people. If they went out on an expedition, 10 almighty beings would only need 10 days to half a month to completely defeat 4,000 Golden Core Realm cultivators. According to what Xing Hui had said, once the Annihilation Sect finished cultivating this improved version of the world-burning art, the 10 Golden Core cultivators will be able to unleash the power of their Golden Cores with the help of the formation to unleash the power of their Golden Cores. Doesn't that mean that the first wave of attacks from our 4,000 Golden Core Realm Elders is practically equivalent to the joint attack of 400 great figures? 400 almighty beings. Even a peerless divine realm cultivator would be torn apart in an instant, let alone a lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. After all, in the presence of battle formations, even a saint stage powerhouse would die if they were caught in a battle formation formed by 100 almighties, let alone 400 almighties. When she thought of this, Nan Li's breathing gradually quickened. Even though it was somewhat unrealistic to ask everyone in the Annihilation Sect to cultivate the world-burning art, as long as a quarter of them cultivated the brand-new version of the world-burning art, it would be equivalent to the Annihilation Sect gaining an additional force that could threaten a divine realm powerhouse. This force would also become the Annihilation Sect's greatest trump card. How do you want to trade? Sect Master Nan Li asked in a low voice. Your Excellency Pak Hui, please state your price wisely. Don't forget that according to the agreement, you should unconditionally provide your cultivation experience to us. It's true that I need to provide you with my cultivation experience for the world-burning art, but the cultivation method that I created based on the world-burning art has already gradually broken away from the world-burning art. It's a completely new method that surpasses the original and is not within the scope of our agreement. Xing Hui said with a smile. As for what I need, I believe that the Annihilation Sect will definitely be able to provide it. I want a sun core. A sun core. Nan Li's expression changed slightly. Your Excellency Pak Hui, don't you think this price is too high? Sect Master Nan Li, please let me finish. The sun core that I want is not the one that you've ignited. It's fine as long as it's the sun core. As for the price being too high, I don't think that the cultivation experience that can turn an ordinary divine scripture into a supreme divine scripture is worth less than this price. It's not the ignited sun core, Sect Master Nanli muttered to herself as if she was considering the gains and losses. After a while, she slowly said, I can agree to your request. However, if there's any problem in cultivating the world-burning art, you'll need to guide me from the side. Sure. As long as your disciples, deacons, and elders who cultivate the world-burning art meet the standards of cultivating the world-burning art, I'll definitely teach a few people who can cultivate the world-burning art. Sing Hui said, however, due to some special reasons, I'm afraid I'll have to trouble Supremacy Ensure of the Annihilation Sect to make a trip personally. Supremacy Ensure? Sect Master Nanli naturally had more than one Voidwalker. However, since Tsing Hui had mentioned Supremacy Ensure and said that there was a special reason, she nodded. I'll let him go. These are my coordinates. Please hurry. Supremacy Ensure will be there in 2 hours. Then I'll be waiting for Supremacy Ensure. Tsing Hui bowed slightly and left. After Tsing Hui left, Elder Yu Yi stepped forward and said in a deep voice, Sect Master, are we really going to give the Great Sun Core to him? We haven't ignited that Sun Core yet, but we've poured more than 100 Dao powers into it. Its price can't be compared to the ordinary Sun Cores. I think, why don't we ask Assure to take our people there, and then... At this point, a cold glint flashed in Yu Ye's eyes. He waved his hand and made a gesture to silence them. Nanli pondered for a while and finally shook her head. The implications are too great. Not only does Pak Hui know Sword Master Bai Hong, but he's also a direct disciple of Reverend Zhu Zhao. Even his world-burning art was purchased from our Annihilation sect through Reverend Zhu Zhao's connections. If we kill him, we'll definitely infuriate Reverend Zhu Zhao. Even if Reverend Zhu Zhao is severely injured and can't do anything to us for the time being, the revenge from Sky Dome can't be underestimated. At that time, the price we'll have to pay will be far more than just the Great Sun Core. Of course, the most important thing is that we might not be able to capture him alive and force him to reveal his cultivation experience of the world-burning art. Why? Why do you think Sky Dome would place a cultivator who hasn't reached the almighty realm at the top of the ladder in the War of Chaos? Yi pondered for a moment and immediately understood. His chaotic level? That's right, the primal chaos level. Bai Su's primal chaos level isn't as simple as we think. Once he reaches the 30th level, he'll be able to use a teleportation art. It won't be easy for the Annihilation sect to capture him alive. If we offend him, we won't be able to get anything out of it. That'll be too late for regrets. Although Yi wasn't willing to give away the Great Sun Core for nothing, he could only nod his head in the end. Capturing him alive was different from killing him. It was too difficult to capture a cultivator who used the teleportation art alive, unless they had the means to directly injure the target on the spiritual level so that he wouldn't be able to use the teleportation art in time. Otherwise, there was no other way. On the other hand, the cultivation method of the World Blaze that Qing Su had modified had an extremely high requirement for one's mental strength. Coupled with his cultivation at the Golden Core realm, a conservative estimate would place his mental strength at the 110th level at the very least. Probably even the first Dao sovereign of the Heavenly Dao would not be able to crush such an expert in terms of mental strength. It's just a loss of more than 400 Daoist rhythms. If 400 Daoist rhythms can be exchanged for the battle strength of an invincible Saint Realm expert, it's worth it, especially now that the entire Infinite region is in a precarious situation and a great war is about to break out. Any powerful expert's battle strength becomes crucial, and we shouldn't be careless. Yu Yi and Zhenyang elders nodded their heads. I'll go and inform Sage Assure. Elders, prepare the information and select a suitable cultivator for the Blazing World incantation. We have to put this modified version of the Blazing World incantation to use as soon as possible. As Nanli spoke, her figure flashed and disappeared without a trace. Meteorite Iron Continent. Sing Hui flew at full speed for nearly 2 hours and was far away from the Truth Mountain. When he estimated that it was about time, he hovered above a dense forest and waited for Sage and Shure's arrival. A moment later, the heaven and earth Yuan Qi condensed and formed a vortex with a diameter of more than 1,000 meters. Not long after, a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 40s emerged from the vortex. It was Voidwalker and Shure of the Annihilation Sect. Greetings, Sage and Shure. Sing Hui bowed slightly. Although Sage and Shure was an almighty, he knew that Sing Hui was the personal disciple of Sage Zhu Zhao, so he didn't dare to slight him. Your Excellency Pak Hui, this is our trade item. As he spoke, he took out a treasure box. As the treasure box was opened, a blazing and violent energy torrent suddenly soared into the sky, turning into a dazzling light that illuminated the void. It was as if supremacy in Shure was holding a scorching sun. The core of the great sun, seeing the core of the great sun in the treasure box, Sing Hui's eyes lit up with joy. With the core of the great sun in hand, there was hope for the Scarlet Sun Demon God to be activated. This is the cultivation experience of the Endless Realm and the Golden Core Realm of the Burning World technique that I have revised based on my own understanding. Sing Hui handed over a jade talisman that recorded a lot of information. Soon, the two exchanged the money and the goods. They represented the Sky Dome Realm and the Annihilation Sect, respectively. They were both well-known top forces in the Heaven Wasteland domain and were not afraid of any tricks in this trade. If this recultivated Burning World technique really has the effect that Your Excellency Pak Hui said, I have to thank Your Excellency Pak Hui. Sage and Shure, you're too polite. Sing Hui pretended to ask casually, this is the Meteorite Iron Continent. I wonder if Sage and Shure knows Dharma, King Achu of the Arcane Arts Sect of the Meteorite Iron Continent? Dharma, King Achu of the Arcane Arts Sect? Sage and Shure was taken aback for a moment before he smiled and said, I do know this person. Back then, he and I had a few trades and we got to know each other. Does Your Excellency Pak Hui want to see him for a trade? If so, I'll ask him to come over and pay a visit to Your Excellency Pak Hui. I believe Achu will give you this face. Sage and Shure was both a Voidwalker and a core member of the Annihilation Sect. Thus, his attitude towards Dharma King Achu was clearly superior, as if he was ordering a subordinate around. Facts have proven that having ability is not enough. One also needs a background. Chapter 579. That's not it. I'm just asking. Sing Hui replied with a smile. He had only asked honorable and sure to make sure that nothing would go wrong. In fact, he guessed that the Void Walker that Disciplined King Asu knew was honorable and sure. This time, he had taken drastic measures to deal with Disciplined King Asu. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. In the future, if the disciples of the Annihilation Sect who cultivate the Burning World technique have anything they don't understand, I'll have to ask Madame Pak Hui to guide them. Of course. Honorable and Sure nodded. Then, his incarnation dissipated, forming a primordial chi storm that spread in all directions. Very good. As far as I know, Ensure's incarnation technique has not reached level 5. In the next period of time, I don't have to worry about Disciplined King Asu borrowing the power of the Voidwalkers to go to the Eastern Wilderness World or the Hidden Sword Continent. However, if I want to solve this problem once and for all, I have to work on the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Sing Hui thought. With a wave of his hand, the Scarlet Sun Demon God's 3-meter-tall body appeared in front of him. The Scarlet Sun Demon God was 3 meters tall. There was a ring of sword wings that looked like the sun on its back. The sword wings were made up of 108 3-meter-long Scarlet Sun swords. As there was no energy source, these thin swords did not have any red light flowing on them. Otherwise, once they were activated, these thin Scarlet Sun Demon God would shoot out streaks of red sword chi, looking like the radiance of a red sun. Hence, it was called the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Apart from that, the Demon God was constructed from a special type of metal. It was completely scarlet red. This metal was very good at guiding true essence and true chi. If it fused with the power source of the Scarlet Sun Demon God, it would have an astonishing amplification effect. If cultivators wore it as armor, they would be able to receive the amplification of the Scarlet Sun Demon God's power. As for the degree of amplification, it was related to the cultivation method, fighting style, and form. Then, let me see how powerful you are, big guy, Sing Hui said. According to the information about Scarlet Sun Demon God that he had read, he quickly installed the core of the sun that was radiating red light into the position of Scarlet Sun Demon God's heart, which was like a reactor. With the core of the sun as the source of power, the entire Scarlet Sun Demon God shook slightly. The many divine runes on its body shone with crimson light at the same time. These lights wove together and formed a layer of protective aura, which had an astonishing resistance to attacks. In addition, the 108 slender divine swords on its back also stretched out slightly. The sword lights swallowed and spat out, causing the divine swords that were originally less than 3 meters long to grow to nearly 4 meters long. As for the scarlet sword light that was emitted, it was more than 10 meters long. It was truly like a scarlet sun, radiating light in all directions. Sing Hui channeled his sword intent into the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Immediately, the Scarlet Sun Demon God stretched out slightly like a mecha, revealing the space inside. The space was just large enough for one person to sit on. Sing Hui went forward, and the Scarlet Sun Demon God's armor quickly enveloped him. As his inner yuan circulated, the inner yuan on his body and the materials used to refine the Scarlet Sun Demon God completed a perfect guidance. The entire Scarlet Sun Demon God seemed to have become a layer of aura around him, or like he had put on a 3-meter-tall aura armor. He did not feel any discomfort at all, as expected of the greatest product of the Scarlet Sun cult back then. It's actually so amazing. Sing Hui's consciousness extended to the control core of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Immediately, countless pieces of information flashed through his mind. He quickly understood the various functions of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. As the information flowed, it constantly updated the relevant data of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. For example, the amount of energy contained, the degree of damage, the degree of activation, and so on. This was the support system of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. If not for the fact that the operation of the Scarlet Sun Demon God was done directly through consciousness and not through a virtual screen, he would have thought that he was piloting a mecha from the future. Next, let me try the power of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Sing Hui was a little curious. Then, he clenched his fist and punched out. The moment he punched out, his consciousness also triggered the power source, which was the energy in the core of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. This energy seemed to have turned into a giant flame pillar under the transformation of the Scarlet Sun Demon God's body. As Sing Hui's punch shot out, the ground within a dozen kilometers in front of him was burned to ashes in an instant. The solid ground was even turned into glass. This is the Scarlet Sun primordial fire that has been condensed to the extreme and turned into a flame pillar. Sing Hui was shocked. However, when he recalled that the Scarlet Sun Demon God was created to fight against astronomical phenomenon and Earth-level experts, he quickly calmed down. Buzz buzz. With the rotation of the sword wheel, the sword wings formed by the 108 thin swords on the back of the Scarlet Sun Demon God quickly spread out. The vast energy in the power source was continuously injected into the thin swords, causing the long and slender divine swords to circulate with red light like bright light bulbs. Sword out. Swoosh. Red light pierced through the air. Under the guidance of the sword wheel, the 108 Scarlet Sun swords shot into the void at the same time. It was as if a scorching sun that had been condensed and would not dissipate had suddenly bloomed, erupting with a dazzling light that was so strong that it was hard to open one's eyes. It whistled and shot in all directions, killing all living things within the range of the sword tips. These Scarlet Sun swords have such a low burden on the mind. Furthermore, the energy they use is from the power source, so it doesn't consume much of my energy. It completely makes up for the shortcoming of my lack of energy due to the fusion of my golden core into the Scarlet Abyss sword. Once the sword formation is unleashed, it's almost equivalent to a celestial phenomenon of Earth-level expert continuously launching attacks. Every Scarlet Sun sword, when fully activated, has the power of a small divine ability. 108 small divine abilities are continuously bombarding me. Xinghui could not help but suck in a breath of cold air just by thinking about it. Savage. Truly savage. No wonder the Scarlet Sun demon god was named after the Scarlet Sun. Its most powerful killing technique was these 108 Scarlet Sun swords. Furthermore, if he used this Scarlet Sun demon god to deal with those never-ending realm and golden core realm experts, a meat grinder, that was simply an invincible meat grinder. If he had this Scarlet Sun demon god in his hands, Xinghui would have even dared to face more than 400 golden core realm experts from the arcane art sect alone. After understanding the Scarlet Sun demon god's attacking power, Xinghui once again wielded the Sky Splitter to test the Scarlet Sun demon god's defensive power. In the end, he realized that the Scarlet Sun demon god's defensive power was extremely shocking. It could even be said to be terrifying. Even if Xinghui used all his energy to stab the Scarlet Sun demon god with the 12th grade flying sword, he could not do anything to the Scarlet Sun demon god's outer layer of energy defense. At most, it would dim the light in that area slightly. With the replenishment of energy from the power source, that dim area would quickly recover. Xinghui estimated that the Scarlet Sun demon god would be able to withstand even ordinary remarkable powers as long as it was not hit consecutively. If the Scarlet Sun demon god had enough time to replenish the outer layer of energy from the power source, it would not be a problem for it to withstand dozens of remarkable powers. In other words, as long as the frequency was not too high, an ordinary Almighty would not be able to do anything to the Scarlet Sun demon god, even if he exhausted all his energy. I wonder if it can be used together with the Deep Scarlet Sword. Xinghui thought. In the next moment, the Deep Scarlet Sword appeared in his hand. At the same time, it extended from the Scarlet Sun demon god's arm. It's actually not affected. Xinghui's figure moved, and the Deep Scarlet Sword in his hand was already brandished. As the Deep Scarlet Sword slashed out, the golden core condensed from the Golden Crow Divine Soul in the Deep Scarlet Sword, and the core of the Scarlet Sun demon god's power source seemed to reflect each other's brilliance. This caused the power of the sword to increase by almost 2 times. It had already surpassed the category of minor remarkable powers and was approaching the level of remarkable powers. As the sword struck out, heaven and earth split apart. A huge fissure that looked like a canyon quickly formed in front of him. Countless trees and rocks were turned into dust by the blazing sword light that contained a terrifying temperature. The area of effect was more than 10 kilometers. 2 times. This is already close to the level of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. Xinghui's eyes flashed. The attack and defense of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth experts would be strengthened by the laws of heaven and earth. This would cause their attack and defense to increase by 3 to 5 times. Some talented people could even increase their battle strength by 6 or even 7 times. 10,000 years ago, during the Divine Wilderness era, there were even people who managed to increase the amplification of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth to 8 times. Although Xinghui's amplification was still far from 8 times, 2 times of amplification was already close to the standard of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. If he slashed out with the great sun demon god's amplification, the power of the blazing sun sword would be so strong that it could even be considered as one of the best remarkable powers. With this Scarlet Sun demon god, my strength is probably enough to fight against a lawful embodiment of heaven and earth expert. The only drawback is its speed. Xinghui controlled the Scarlet Sun demon god and soared into the sky. After a round, he finally landed back down. Its speed was slower than when he was controlling a 12th order flying sword. It was probably comparable to a 10th order flying sword, and this speed was only equivalent to the level of a weaker Almighty. After sensing the remaining energy in the core of the great sun, his face darkened slightly. There's still energy consumption. This Scarlet Sun demon god was really burning money. After testing the battle prowess of the Scarlet Sun demon god, Tsinghui extricated himself from the Scarlet Sun demon god. He then passed the control of the Scarlet Sun demon god to the weapon spirit of the Scarlet Sun demon god, which was a subsidiary system that had previously assisted him in understanding the various resources and data of the Scarlet Sun demon god. Under the control of the weapon spirit, the Scarlet Sun demon god's attack and defense could still be said to be powerful. However, as he had guessed, its logic and agility were greatly reduced. In terms of attack, it was also greatly reduced compared to Tsinghui's control. If I only let the weapon spirit control the Scarlet Sun demon god, its battle prowess would be equivalent to the pinnacle of the transcendent realm. Moreover, it would only be the pinnacle of the transcendent realm in terms of battle prowess. Once the Almighty takes advantage of the Scarlet Sun demon god's lack of logic and agility to set up a trap, the Scarlet Sun demon god would be completely destroyed. After experimenting for a day, Tsinghui finally understood the various mysteries of the Scarlet Sun demon god. Although its battle prowess was clearly slightly weaker than a lawful embodiment of heaven and earth expert, its battle prowess could be said to be indisputable. In that case, let me wait for the people from the Profound Art sect to come knocking on my door for revenge. I'd like to know exactly what method that Profound Art sect's Dharma King, ACU, will use to chase me to the ends of the earth and kill me. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.